Crisis management and risk management. The role of risk management in managing crises. The Fadun, Risk Management of Everything channel, presents Crisis Management and Risk Management. The role of risk management in managing crisis. Welcome to the Fadun, Risk Management of Everything channel. On this channel, you will see videos on risk management and its application to diverse areas and sectors. If you are new here, subscribe to our channel and press the notification button to be notified when we upload new videos. Thank you. This video discusses risk management and crisis management. It explains the role of risk management in managing crises. This video will help you understand the meaning of crisis, characteristics of crisis, causes of crises, types of crisis versus risk, similarities of crisis and risk, differences between crisis and risk, the 4 stages of a crisis management, the importance of crisis management, benefits of crisis management, features of crisis management, practical examples of crisis management, risk management, the importance of risk management, benefits of risk management structure, risk management strategies, risk management process, limitations of risk management, the phases of crisis management plan, the importance of a crisis management plan, the purpose of a crisis management plan, benefits of a crisis management plan, who uses crisis management plans, characteristics of crisis management plans, steps to creating a crisis management plan, components of a crisis management plan, crisis communication, the importance of crisis communication, fundamental principles of crisis communication channels, crisis management team, differences between crisis management and risk management, similarities of crisis management and risk management, how to overcome organizational crises, the roles of employees in crisis management, the roles of leaders in crisis management, crisis response and risk management, the role of risk management in managing crises, and practical tips for effective risk management in crises. Now, let us start. What is a crisis? A crisis is a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger that requires urgent attention and action. It is a sudden and unexpected event leading to significant unrest amongst individuals and the workplace. It constitutes an emergency that disturbs the employees and leads to organizational instability. A crisis is a complex or unstable situation that requires urgent attention. Crises affect individuals, groups, organizations, and the society at large. Crises can manifest in various forms and affect individuals, organizations, communities, and nations. The causes of crisis vary widely, but some common factors include unexpected events, inadequate preparation, systemic vulnerabilities, natural disasters, economic downturns, political instability, social unrest, public health emergencies, technological failures, and a lack of adequate response mechanisms. Understanding the root causes of a crisis is crucial for developing strategies to prevent or mitigate similar situations in the future. Characteristics of crises. Here are significant characteristics of crises. 1. Urgency. Crises demand immediate attention and action due to the situation's urgency. Delayed or ineffective responses can exacerbate the impact of the crisis. 2. Uncertainty. Crises are often accompanied by uncertainty, with incomplete or rapidly changing information. This uncertainty can make decision-making challenging. 3. Risk. Crises pose significant risks, whether to human life, property, economic stability, or other critical elements. Managing and mitigating these risks is a crucial aspect of crisis management. 4. Disruption. Crises disrupt regular routines, systems, and processes. They can have widespread effects on various aspects of life and significantly disrupt daily activities. 5. Stress and anxiety. People involved in a crisis often experience heightened emotions and difficulty coping. 6. disruption, normal routines and activities may be disrupted, making functioning difficult. 7. Decision-making challenges. The pressure and uncertainty can make clear thinking and decision-making difficult. 8. Pressure. Stakeholders, whether individuals or organizations, often face intense pressure during a crisis. This pressure can come from making rapid decisions, allocating resources effectively, and communicating information accurately. 9. Impact on reputation. Crises can impact the reputation of individuals, businesses, or governments. How entities handle a crisis can influence public perception and trust. 10. Need for coordination. Effective crisis management often requires coordination among various stakeholders, including government agencies, non-governmental organizations, businesses, and the public. Collaboration is essential to address the multifaceted challenges that crises present. 11. Learning opportunities. While crises are often adverse, they can also serve as learning opportunities. Analyzing the causes and responses to crises can improve preparedness, response strategies, and resilience for the future. Causes of crises. Crises may arise from several sources but often from a combination of factors. Here are some common causes of crises. 1. Natural disasters. Events such as earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, wildfires, and other natural disasters can lead to crises by causing widespread destruction, displacement, and loss of life. 2. Human-made disasters. Human activities, including industrial accidents, nuclear incidents, chemical spills, and other environmental disasters, can trigger crises, which can have far-reaching consequences for communities and ecosystems. 3. Economic factors. Economic crises can be caused by financial market instability, economic recessions, inflation, high unemployment rates, and currency devaluation. These issues can lead to widespread financial distress and social upheaval. 4. Political instability. Political crises can result from government corruption, political unrest, civil wars, coups, and disputed elections. These situations can lead to social and economic instability within a country. 5. Social unrest. Crises can arise from social issues, such as protests, demonstrations, and movements advocating for political or social change. Tensions related to inequality, discrimination, or human rights violations can contribute to social unrest. 6. Public health emergencies. Disease outbreaks, pandemics, and other public health emergencies can lead to crises. The rapid spread of infectious diseases can overwhelm healthcare systems, cause widespread fear, and result in significant societal disruption. 7. Technological failures. Crises can occur due to failures in critical infrastructure, such as power grids, transportation systems, or communication networks. Cybersecurity breaches and technological accidents can also lead to crises by disrupting essential services. 8. Terrorism. Acts of terrorism, whether domestic or international, can cause crises by instigating fear, causing casualties, and disrupting business operations. The aftermath of terrorist attacks often requires coordinated response efforts to address the immediate and long-term effects. 9. Environmental degradation. Environmental issues such as climate change, deforestation, pollution, and the depletion of natural resources can trigger crises. These factors can lead to ecological imbalances and impact community well-being. 10. Global events. Global factors, such as geopolitical tensions, international conflicts, or economic downturns in major economies, can contribute to crises that have widespread implications across regions and nations. 11. Information security breaches. Leaks of confidential information, hacking attacks, or data breaches can damage an organization's reputation and cause financial losses. 12. Psychopathology. In some cases, a crisis can be triggered by the mental health of an individual. For instance, a violent act might be caused by a mental illness. The causes of crises are interconnected, and a single event can have cascading effects, leading to a complex situation. Effective crisis management involves understanding the root causes, preparing for potential crises, and implementing strategies to mitigate their impact. Types of crises. Crises can take various forms and are often categorized based on their nature, impact, and characteristics. Here are some common types of crises. 1. Natural disasters. Natural disasters are caused by natural forces or processes of the earth, resulting in significant destruction and loss. It is a catastrophic event that occurs due to natural processes of the earth, leading to substantial damage, destruction, and adverse impacts on the environment, human life, and property. These events are often sudden, intense, and beyond human control. Natural disasters can take various forms and be classified into different categories based on their nature and origin. The impact of natural disasters varies depending on factors such as the event's magnitude, the vulnerability of the affected population, and the local authorities' preparedness and response capabilities. Disaster preparedness, early warning systems, and sustainable land use planning aim to reduce the risk and impact of natural disasters on communities and ecosystems. An excellent example of a natural disaster is the 2005 Hurricane Katrina, which devastated the Gulf Coast of the United States, causing widespread flooding, destruction of infrastructure, and displacement of communities. 2. Financial crises. A financial crisis is a situation in which the normal functioning of the financial system experiences severe disruptions, leading to widespread economic instability. Financial crises can manifest in various forms, such as banking, currency, stock market crashes, and debt crises. These events often significantly negatively impact businesses, households, and the economy. Financial crises have occurred throughout history, and their impact can range from severe economic contractions to prolonged periods of economic stagnation. Governments, central banks, and international institutions often intervene to stabilize the financial system and mitigate the broader economic impact of such crises. Effective financial regulation, risk management practices, and crisis preparedness are crucial to preventing and managing financial crises. An example of a financial crisis is the 2008 global financial crisis, which was triggered by the collapse of Lehman Brothers and had widespread economic repercussions, including bank failures, stock market declines, and a severe recession. 3. Public health emergencies. Public health emergencies refer to situations in which the health of a population is at risk due to an infectious disease outbreak, biological or chemical incidents, or other events that can potentially cause significant harm to public health. These emergencies require prompt and coordinated public health responses to mitigate the impact and protect the well-being of individuals and communities. Public health emergencies highlight the importance of robust public health systems, effective emergency preparedness and response plans, and international collaboration to address global health challenges. A good example is the COVID-19 pandemic, which began in 2019 and is a global public health crisis characterized by the rapid spread of a novel coronavirus, significant illness, and death, overwhelmed healthcare systems, and widespread societal disruption. 4. Political crises. Political crises entail the abnormal functioning of a political system that experiences severe disruptions, leading to instability, uncertainty, and governance challenges. These crises can occur at various levels, including local, national, or international, and they often involve conflicts, political unrest, and a breakdown of established political processes. Political crises can manifest in different forms, and their causes are diverse. The political crisis in Venezuela, marked by political instability, economic challenges, and social unrest, has led to a complex and protracted situation with international implications. Addressing political crises requires effective governance, respect for the rule of law, open and inclusive dialogue, and, in some cases, international mediation. Resolving political crises can have lasting implications for a nation's political landscape and stability. 5. Social and civil unrest. Social and civil unrest is a widespread and collective action by a population expressing dissatisfaction, grievances, or protest against various social, economic, or political issues. It often involves demonstrations, strikes, or other forms of public outcry. Social and civil unrest can be caused by inequality, injustice, political oppression, economic hardship, ethnic or religious tensions, and corruption. Examples of social and civil unrest include the Black Lives Matter protests that emerged globally in response to incidents of police brutality and systemic racism, highlighting social unrest around issues of racial injustice. Likewise, the Occupy Wall Street movement, which began in 2011, protested against economic inequality and the perceived influence of corporations on government policies. Political crises and social or civil unrest are interconnected, as political decisions and governance issues often contribute to social dissatisfaction and protest. The dynamics between political leaders and the population play a crucial role in determining the outcome of these situations, with the potential for significant societal and political changes. 6. Terrorist incidents. Deliberate and violent acts intended to instill fear, create a sense of insecurity, and advance political, ideological, or religious goals. These incidents can include bombings, hijackings, shootings, kidnappings, and other forms of attacks on civilian populations or symbolic targets. Here are examples of terrorist incidents. September 11, 2001, 9/11, attacks. Coordinated terrorist attacks by Al-Qaeda involving hijacked airplanes targeting the World Trade Center towers and the Pentagon. It resulted in massive loss of life, destruction of iconic structures, and profound effects on global security policies. London 7/7 bombings, 2005. Suicide bombings targeting London's public transportation system. It resulted in loss of lives, injuries, disruption of public services, and increased security measures. Paris attacks, 2015. Coordinated attacks by ISIS targeting multiple locations in Paris, including a concert hall and a soccer stadium. It resulted in loss of lives, injuries, and significant societal impact, leading to changes in security policies. Addressing the aftermath of terrorist incidents involves comprehensive responses, including emergency medical care, psychological support for survivors, enhanced security measures, and international collaboration to counteract terrorist networks. Preventing future incidents requires intelligence gathering, counter-terrorism strategies, and addressing the root causes that fuel extremism and radicalization. 7. Technological and cybersecurity crises. Technological and cybersecurity crises where the integrity, availability, and confidentiality of digital systems, networks, and information are compromised, leading to significant disruptions, threats, and potential harm. These crises can result from several factors, including cyber attacks, technological failures, data breaches, and other incidents that impact digital infrastructure security and functionality. For instance, the 2017 WannaCry ransomware attack affected computer systems worldwide, disrupting operations in various sectors, including healthcare, finance, and logistics. Technological and cybersecurity crises underscore the importance of ongoing efforts to strengthen cybersecurity measures, build resilience in technological systems, and foster collaboration between various stakeholders to address emerging threats and challenges. 8. Environmental crises. Environmental crises entail significant and often urgent threats to the environment, ecosystems, and human well-being from natural or human-induced factors. These crises can severely impact biodiversity, ecosystems, climate, and the planet's overall health. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in 2011, triggered by a massive earthquake and tsunami in Japan, led to a nuclear meltdown, evacuations, and long-term environmental consequences. Addressing environmental crises requires concerted efforts from governments, organizations, communities, and individuals to adopt sustainable practices, promote conservation, and work towards a more resilient and balanced relationship with the natural world. 9. Humanitarian crises. A humanitarian crisis entails a critical threat to a large group of people's health, safety, and fundamental rights, often requiring urgent and coordinated humanitarian assistance. Humanitarian crises refer to situations where there is a widespread threat to many people's well-being, safety, and fundamental rights, often resulting from natural disasters, armed conflicts, or other catastrophic events. These crises create significant challenges for affected populations and require coordinated humanitarian responses to address immediate needs, provide assistance, and promote long-term recovery. The Syrian refugee crisis, resulting from the ongoing conflict in Syria, has led to millions of people fleeing their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries, and posing significant challenges to humanitarian aid efforts. Addressing humanitarian crises requires a multifaceted approach that combines emergency relief efforts with long-term development strategies. International organizations, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, governments, and local communities are crucial in providing support, protection, and resources to affected populations during and after crises. 10. Economic downturns. Economic downturns, also known as economic contractions or recessions, are periods of negative economic growth characterized by a decline in various economic indicators, such as gross domestic product, GDP, employment, and investment. They are also characterized by a contraction in economic activity, rising unemployment, reduced consumer spending, and declining business investment. These downturns can significantly impact businesses, households, and a country's economic well-being. Examples of economic downturns. Here are 2 examples of economic downturns. 1. Global financial crisis, 2007 to 2008. This was caused by the subprime mortgage crisis and financial market disruptions. It was characterized by global recession, financial institution failures, and widespread unemployment, which resulted in central bank interventions, fiscal stimulus packages, and financial sector bailouts. 2. COVID-19 pandemic, 2020. This caused a global health crisis and widespread lockdowns. It also resulted in economic contraction, job losses, and disruptions in various industries. It was addressed through monetary policy measures, fiscal stimulus, and social support programs. Economic downturns are a natural part of the economic cycle, and governments, central banks, and policymakers employ various tools and strategies to mitigate their impact and support recovery. The duration and severity of economic downturns can vary, and the effectiveness of policy measures depends on the economy's specific circumstances and challenges. Supply chain crises highlight the importance of resilience, adaptability, and proactive risk management in modern business operations. Businesses implementing robust strategies are resilient and better positioned during crises to navigate and recover from supply chain crises. 11. Supply chain crises. Supply chain crises occur when disruptions or breakdowns in producing and distributing goods and services significantly impact the flow of resources, materials, and finished products. Various factors, such as natural disasters, geopolitical events, economic challenges, and public health emergencies, can cause these disruptions. Examples of supply chain crises. 1. COVID-19 pandemic, 2020. Widespread disruptions in global supply chains due to factory closures, transportation restrictions, and labor shortages. It increased focus on supply chain resilience, re-evaluation of sourcing strategies, and adopting new technologies. 2. Japan earthquake and tsunami, 2011. This caused disruptions in the automotive and electronics industries due to damaged factories and infrastructure. It resulted in an increased focus on supply chain risk management, supplier diversification, and improved contingency planning. 3. Suez Canal blockage. A temporary blockage of one of the world's busiest trade routes disrupted global shipping and supply chain operations. This resulted in increased awareness of logistical vulnerabilities and discussions on improving contingency plans for similar events. Understanding the different types of crises is essential for developing tailored response strategies and preparedness plans. Each crisis type presents unique challenges, requiring specific expertise and coordination among various stakeholders for effective resolution and recovery. Given that crises negatively impact individuals, households, businesses, and the government, it is paramount to ask, is crises the same thing as risk? Hence, there is a need to discuss the difference between crisis and risk. Crisis versus risk. While risk and crisis are related, they represent different concepts in business, management, and various fields. Before explaining their similarities and differences, let us use practical examples to explore their meaning and characteristics. Risk. Risk is the potential for harm, loss, or negative impact resulting from uncertainty or variability in various situations. It encompasses the likelihood of an adverse event occurring and the potential consequences associated with that event. Risk is a possible adverse event or situation. It is about uncertainty and consequences. For business organizations, the risk is the uncertainty of financial loss. Hence, organizations must proactively identify, analyze, and manage their risks. Characteristics of risk. Here are the features of a risk. 1. Uncertainty. Risks involve uncertainties and the possibility of adverse outcomes. 2. Probability and impact. Risks are assessed based on the likelihood of occurrence and the potential severity of their impact. 3. Strategic decision-making. Managing risks involves making strategic decisions to minimize the negative consequences and maximize opportunities. Examples of risks. A manufacturing company might identify a risk of a machine malfunction during production. The company can manage this risk by implementing regular maintenance and safety protocols. Another example is a company operating in a region prone to earthquakes risks a seismic event affecting its facilities. The company must assess the earthquake's likelihood and potential impact to determine and implement risk mitigation strategies, such as building reinforcement or insurance coverage. Crisis. A crisis is a significant and unpredictable event that threatens an organization, community, or individual and requires immediate attention and effective management. It is the actualization of a risk that causes significant disruption and damage. A crisis is a critical situation requiring immediate response and often has a negative impact. Crises can result from various factors, including natural disasters, financial failures, cybersecurity breaches, or other unexpected incidents. They are often unpredictable and require reactive measures to contain and recover. Characteristics of crises. 1. Urgency. Crises demand immediate attention and action to mitigate their impact. 2. Disruption. Crises disrupt normal operations and pose a threat to the well-being of stakeholders. 3. Reputation impact. Crises can severely affect an organization's reputation and public perception. 4. Response and recovery. Effective crisis management involves a coordinated response and efforts to recover from the incident. Examples of crisis. If the machine in the manufacturing plant malfunctions and causes a fire, this crisis requires immediate response to stop the fire, ensure safety, and minimize damage. A food manufacturing company faces a product recall crisis due to contamination. The incident poses an immediate threat to public health, requires rapid response to remove the affected products from the market, and necessitates efforts to rebuild consumer trust. Similarities of crisis and risk. 1. Impact on objectives. Both risk and crisis can impact an organization's objectives, whether related to financial performance, reputation, or operational efficiency. 2. Uncertainty. Both concepts deal with uncertainties at different levels. Risks deal with anticipated uncertainties, while crises often arise from unforeseen events. 3. Management approach. Effective risk and crisis management requires a proactive approach, strategic planning, and appropriate measures to mitigate negative consequences. 4. Negative consequences. Crises and risks can lead to adverse outcomes. However, the critical difference lies in the imminence of these consequences. The potential negative consequences of a risk are future possibilities. They may or may not happen, depending on various factors. The severity of the consequences will also vary depending on the specific risk. The negative consequences of a crisis are present and unfolding. The severity of the consequences is often high, requiring immediate attention and action. 5. Attention and action. Both crises and risks require attention and action, although the type of action differs. Risks require proactive attention and action through risk management. This involves identifying potential hazards, analyzing their likelihood and impact, and implementing measures to prevent them from occurring or minimize their impact. Crises require reactive attention and action through crisis management. This involves responding to the unfolding situation, containing the damage, and taking steps to recover from the crisis. Differences between crisis and risk. 1. Focus. Risk concerns the future and potential threats while a crisis unfolds. 2. Certainty. Risks are uncertain possibilities, while crises are actual situations demanding immediate response. 3. Timing and predictability. Risks are often assessed and managed before an event occurs, allowing for proactive measures to reduce the likelihood or impact. Crises are typically unexpected and require immediate response, frequently occurring despite risk management efforts. 4. Nature of events. Risks can be positive, opportunities, and harmful, threats, and may be routine or part of everyday business decisions. Crises are generally negative and characterized by a sudden and severe impact that requires a crisis management response. 5. Severity and urgency. Risks are often assessed on a continuum of likelihood and impact, and their consequences may not be immediate or severe. On the other hand, crises are characterized by urgency and the need for immediate action due to their severe and often acute impact. 6. Proactive versus reactive. Risk management focuses on proactive steps to prevent or lessen the impact of a potential event, while crisis management focuses on reacting to and recovering from an actual event. Practical example of the difference between crisis and risk. 1. Risk scenario. A technology company identifies a potential risk in its supply chain due to geopolitical tensions affecting the availability of critical components. To mitigate the risk, the company decides to diversify its suppliers. 2. Crisis scenario. Despite the risk mitigation efforts, the technology company faces a crisis when a sudden cyber attack disrupts its entire information technology infrastructure, leading to a significant data breach and service outage. The situation requires immediate response and recovery efforts to address the cybersecurity threat and restore normal operations. While risk and crisis are related concepts that involve uncertainties and potential negative impacts, their nature, timing, and severity differ. Risk management helps identify possible problems and implement preventative measures, while crisis management plans ensure a structured response when a crisis unfolds. Effective risk management can help organizations anticipate and mitigate potential issues, while crisis management focuses on responding to and recovering from unforeseen events with immediate and severe consequences. After explaining the similarities and differences between crisis and risk, let's discuss the 4 stages of a crisis. The 4 stages of a crisis. The 4 stages of a crisis represent the progression of events from the pre-crisis stage, where potential risks are identified, to the post-crisis stage, where recovery and learning occur. These stages are crucial for understanding and effectively managing crises. They include the pre-crisis, crisis response, recovery, and post-crisis stages. It is necessary to explain the stages of a crisis. Stage 1, Prodrome phase, pre-crisis stage. This is the calm before the storm. While underlying tensions, vulnerabilities, or warning signs may be present, a full-blown crisis has occurred. Identifying and assessing potential risks and vulnerabilities characterize the pre-crisis stage, during which organizations conduct risk assessments, scenario planning, and preparation to mitigate risks. Key activities of the pre-crisis stage include 1. Risk identification, identifying potential threats, vulnerabilities, and weaknesses within the organization or its external environment. Organizations should proactively identify potential threats through risk assessments and scenario planning. 2. Risk assessment, evaluating the likelihood and potential impact of identified risks on the organization's objectives, operations, and stakeholders. 3. Preparation and planning, developing crisis management plans, protocols, and communication strategies to prepare for potential crises. 4. Training and exercises, train employees on their roles and responsibilities during a crisis. This includes training sessions and crisis simulation exercises to test response capabilities and ensure readiness. 5. Mitigation, take steps to minimize the likelihood or impact of potential threats, like cybersecurity measures or safety drills. Stage 2, acute phase, crisis response stage. The acute phase is the severe time of the crisis and crisis response phase. This is the most intense and time-sensitive stage. The event and the initial response are crucial in determining the overall outcome. The crisis response stage begins when a crisis occurs and requires immediate action to address the situation and mitigate its impact. This stage is characterized by rapid decision-making, communication, and coordination of response efforts. Key activities of the acute phase include 1. Activation of crisis management plan, implement the organization's crisis management plan and activate the crisis management team to coordinate response efforts. 2. Communication and information management, establishing communication channels, disseminating accurate information to stakeholders, and managing the flow of information to the public and media. 3. Resource allocation, resources, including personnel, finances, and technology, are allocated to support response efforts and address immediate needs. 4. Decision-making, making timely and informed decisions to manage the crisis effectively, prioritize actions, and adapt strategies as the situation evolves. Stage 3, recovery phase, cleanup stage. The immediate threat has subsided, but the situation has not been fully resolved. This stage focuses on ongoing response efforts and recovery planning. Recovery begins once the immediate crisis has been contained, and efforts shift towards restoring normal operations and rebuilding resilience. This stage involves assessing the impact of the crisis, implementing recovery plans, and addressing the long-term consequences. Key activities of the recovery phase include 1. Damage assessment, assessing the extent of damage and losses incurred during the crisis, including physical, financial, reputational, and operational impacts. 2. Restoration of operations, implementing measures to restore disrupted operations, rebuild infrastructure, and resume business activities. 3. Stakeholder support, providing support and assistance to affected stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, and communities. 4. Learning and improvement, conduct post-crisis reviews and analyses to identify lessons learned, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities for improvement. The company's crisis management plans must be updated regularly based on lessons learned during crises. Stage 4, resolution phase, post-crisis phase. The crisis is officially over, but the situation is improving. The post-crisis stage involves ongoing monitoring, evaluation, and adaptation to ensure organizational resilience and preparedness for future crises. This stage emphasizes learning from the crisis experience and implementing measures to prevent or mitigate similar events in the future. Key activities of the resolution phase include: 1. After action review, conduct a comprehensive review of the crisis response, identifying strengths and weaknesses in the plan. 2. Continuous improvement. Crisis management is an ongoing process. It includes implementing recommendations and corrective actions identified during post-crisis reviews to strengthen crisis management capabilities and organizational resilience. 3. Monitoring and early warning. Establishing monitoring systems and early warning mechanisms to detect emerging risks and vulnerabilities before they escalate into crises. 4. Stakeholder engagement. Maintaining open communication with stakeholders and building trust through transparency, accountability, and responsiveness. Take steps to rebuild trust with stakeholders whom the crisis may have impacted. Demonstrate a commitment to learning from mistakes and preventing future occurrences. 5. Crisis preparedness. Sustaining efforts to enhance crisis preparedness through regular training, exercises, and updates to crisis management plans based on evolving threats and lessons learned. By understanding and effectively managing each crisis stage, organizations can minimize negative impacts, expedite recovery, and build resilience to withstand future challenges. Having understood the stages of a crisis, it is necessary to discuss crisis management. Crisis management. Crisis management entails dealing with sudden and unexpected events that negatively impact individuals and organizations. Crisis management is a strategic organizational process designed to identify, prepare for, respond to, and recover from unforeseen events or crises that significantly threaten an organization's operations, reputation, or stakeholders. It is a process of handling unexpected and sudden changes in organizational culture. Crisis management involves dealing with crises that minimize damage and enable the affected organization to recover quickly. The goal of crisis management is to minimize the impact of a crisis and facilitate swift and effective response to protect the well-being of individuals and the organization itself. A crisis can be significant for a company's public relations. Crises come in several forms, and it is recommended that a company be prepared ahead of time with a crisis management plan. The importance of crisis management. 1. Proactive risk mitigation. Crisis management allows organizations to proactively identify and mitigate potential risks before they escalate into crises, helping to prevent or minimize adverse impacts. 2. Reputation protection. Effectively managing a crisis can safeguard an organization's reputation by demonstrating transparency, accountability, and a commitment to resolving issues. 3. Stakeholder trust. Prompt and transparent communication during a crisis fosters trust with stakeholders, including customers, employees, investors, and the community. 4. Business continuity. A crisis can disrupt normal operations. Crisis management helps ensure the organization can get back on track quickly and minimize downtime. Crisis management plans to ensure organizations have strategies to maintain essential operations, reducing downtime and financial losses. 5. Legal and regulatory compliance. Compliance with legal and regulatory requirements is crucial during a crisis, and effective crisis management helps organizations navigate legal challenges and maintain compliance. 6. Reduces damage. A well-defined crisis management plan helps organizations respond swiftly and effectively, minimizing damage to reputation, finances, and operations. 7. Protects stakeholders. A crisis can impact employees, customers, investors, and the community. Crisis management ensures all stakeholders are considered and communicated with appropriately. Benefits of crisis management. 1. Swift response. Crisis management enables organizations to respond quickly and decisively, reducing the time it takes to address and mitigate the impact of a crisis. 2. Effective communication. A crisis management plan ensures clear and consistent communication with all internal and external stakeholders. Clear and timely communication is a crucial benefit of crisis management, allowing organizations to convey accurate information, manage perceptions, and maintain credibility. 3. Stakeholder confidence. When organizations demonstrate competence in handling crises, stakeholders are more likely to be confident in their ability to navigate challenges successfully. 4. Learning and improvement. Post-crisis evaluations and reviews contribute to organizational learning, allowing for the identification of areas for improvement in crisis management plans and processes. 5. Preparedness for future crises. Crisis management establishes a framework for ongoing preparedness, ensuring that organizations are better equipped to handle future crises effectively. 6. Improved decision-making. Having a plan reduces confusion and helps make clear decisions during a crisis when emotions might be running high. 7. Faster recovery. By having a plan in place, organizations can respond more efficiently and recover from a crisis quicker, minimizing long-term impacts. Features of crisis management. Here are the critical features of crisis management. 1. Risk assessment and planning. Conduct risk assessments to identify potential crises and develop comprehensive crisis management plans that outline roles, responsibilities, and communication strategies. 2. Crisis communication. Establishing communication protocols to ensure accurate and timely information dissemination to internal and external stakeholders during a crisis. A clear plan for communicating with stakeholders during a crisis is essential, including identifying spokespersons and crafting consistent messaging. 3. Leadership and decision-making. Designating crisis leadership roles and empowering decision-makers to act swiftly and decisively in response to unfolding events. 4. Training and drills. Regular training sessions and crisis simulation drills to prepare key personnel and test the effectiveness of crisis management plans. 5. Planning and preparation. This involves identifying potential risks, creating a crisis response plan, and establishing a crisis management team. 6. Continuous monitoring. Implementing systems for monitoring potential risks, emerging issues, and early warning signs that could escalate into crises. 7. Training. Regularly training employees on the crisis management plan and conducting drills helps ensure everyone knows their roles and responsibilities during a crisis. Practical examples of crisis management. Here are some practical examples of crisis management. 1. Tylenol tampering crisis, 1982. Johnson & Johnson's swift response to tampering incidents with its Tylenol product, including a nationwide recall and improved tamper-resistant packaging, demonstrated effective crisis management. Despite the initial negative impact, Johnson & Johnson's decisive actions restored public confidence and strengthened the company's reputation. 2. Deepwater Horizon oil spill, 2010. British Petroleum, BP, faced a major crisis with the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. The company's crisis management included a comprehensive response plan, extensive communication efforts, and financial commitments for cleanup. While the incident had severe consequences, BP's crisis management efforts aimed at containing the spill, compensating affected parties, and implementing safety improvements helped mitigate long-term damage. 3. Target data breach, 2013. Target responded to a significant data breach by promptly informing customers, offering credit monitoring, and enhancing cybersecurity measures. Despite initial financial losses and damage to its reputation, Target's crisis management efforts helped rebuild customer trust. Consequently, crisis management is a vital organizational process that helps anticipate, respond to, and recover from unexpected events. Its importance lies in minimizing negative impacts, protecting reputation, and ensuring the resilience and continuity of operations. The benefits include swift response, effective communication, stakeholder confidence, and continuous improvement. Having explained crisis and crisis management, let us discuss risk management's meaning, importance, structure, strategies, process, and limitations. Risk management. Risk management encompasses identifying, analyzing, and responding to risk factors that form part of the life of a business. Risk management identifies, assesses, and controls a firm's capital and earnings threats. Effective risk management means influencing future outcomes as much as possible by acting proactively rather than reactively. Therefore, effective risk management can reduce the possibility of a risk occurring and its potential impact. These threats or hazards could stem from various sources, including financial uncertainty, legal liabilities, strategic management errors, accidents, and natural disasters. Information technology, IT, security threats, data-related risks, and risk management strategies to alleviate them have become a top priority for digitized companies. As a result, a risk management plan increasingly includes companies' processes for identifying and controlling threats to their digital assets, including proprietary corporate data, a customer's personally identifiable information, PII, and intellectual property. Every business and organization faces the risk of unexpected, harmful events that can cost the company money or fold up. Risk management allows organizations to prepare for the unexpected by minimizing risks and extra costs before they happen. Hence, risk management is beneficial to organizations. Understanding and controlling risk makes organizations more confident in their business decisions. An organization can save money and protect its future by implementing a risk management plan and considering the various potential risks or events before they occur. A robust risk management plan will help a company establish procedures to avoid potential threats, minimize their impact if they materialize, and cope with the results. Corporate solid governance principles focusing specifically on risk management can help a company reach its goals. The importance of risk management. Here are the importance of risk management. 1. Assets protection. Risk management helps protect an organization's assets, including financial resources, reputation, and intellectual property. 2. Reduced losses. By proactively identifying risks, organizations can take steps to prevent them from occurring or lessen their impact. This can save money on repairs, replacements, legal issues, or lost productivity. 3. Improved decision-making. Risk management requires analyzing potential threats and considering various options. This comprehensive evaluation leads to more informed decisions considering potential downsides and upsides. Organizations can make informed decisions by understanding and managing risks and evaluating potential impacts and uncertainties. 4. Ensures compliance with regulations. Effective risk management ensures compliance with legal and regulatory requirements, preventing legal issues and potential penalties. Many industries have regulations requiring organizations to identify and manage risks. A robust risk management framework helps ensure compliance with these regulations and avoids potential fines or legal issues. 5. Strategic planning. It supports strategic planning by identifying risks that may affect achieving organizational goals and allowing for proactive adjustments. 6. Operational continuity. It contributes to operational continuity by minimizing the impact of potential disruptions and crises. 7. Enhanced reputation. Organizations that demonstrate a proactive approach to risk management signal stability and a commitment to mitigating threats. This builds trust with stakeholders like investors, clients, and employees. 8. Better resource allocation. Risk management helps prioritize potential issues. Organizations can allocate resources effectively to address the most pressing concerns by understanding the likelihood and severity of various risks. 9. Promotes a culture of safety. When risk management is integrated into an organization's culture, it encourages employees to be aware of potential hazards and take steps to mitigate them. This can lead to a safer work environment and fewer accidents. 10. Provides a competitive advantage. By proactively managing risks, organizations can operate more efficiently and avoid costly disruptions, giving them a competitive edge in the marketplace. Benefits of risk management. Benefits of risk management include: 1. Well-improved decision-making. Informed decisions are made when risks are understood and managed appropriately. 2. Enhanced resource allocation. Resources can be allocated more efficiently when potential risks are identified and factored into planning. 3. Increased stakeholder confidence. Customers and investors are more confident in an organization that demonstrates effective risk management. 4. Opportunity identification. Risk management isn't just about avoiding threats, it also helps identify and exploit opportunities for growth and innovation. 5. Crisis preparedness. Organizations that practice risk management are better prepared to handle crises, minimizing potential damage. 6. Ensures a safe workplace. Robust risk management helps create a safe and secure work environment for all staff and customers. 7. Enhance business stability. Risk management helps enhance business operations stability while decreasing legal liability. 8. Protect organizations against the consequences of events detrimental to the company and the environment. 9. Establishes a firm's insurance needs. This helps establish a firm's insurance needs and save unnecessary premiums, thereby reducing the company's risk management expenses. Risk management structure. A risk management structure should do more than identify potential risks. A good risk management structure should also calculate the uncertainties and predict their influence on a business. Consequently, the result is a choice between accepting risks and rejecting them. Risk acceptance or rejection depends on the tolerance levels a business has already defined. Suppose a company sets up risk management as a disciplined and continuous process to identify and resolve risks. In that case, a risk management structure should support other risk mitigation systems. They include planning, organization, cost control, and budgeting. In such a case, the business will usually experience few surprises because the focus is on proactive risk management. In addition to a good risk management structure, companies should develop sound risk management strategies to manage their potential risks. Risk management strategies. Risk management strategies should also attempt to answer the following questions. 1. What can go wrong? 2. How will it affect the organization? Consider the probability of the event and whether it will have a large or small impact. Consider both the workplace as a whole and individual work. 3. What can be done? What steps can be taken to prevent the loss? What can be done to recover if a loss occurs? 4. If something happens, how will the organization pay for it? Here are some common risk management strategies. 1. Risk avoidance. Eliminate the risk by avoiding the activity that could lead to it. This entails changing course, for example, not entering a risky new market. 2. Risk mitigation. Implement measures to reduce the likelihood or impact of the risk, for example, implementing stricter quality control measures. 3. Risk transfer. Shift the risk to another party, often through insurance or outsourcing. Transfer the financial burden of the risk to another party, for example, purchasing insurance. 4. Risk retention. Accept the risk and have a plan to deal with it if it occurs, for example, having a disaster recovery plan. This is an active risk retention. Risk retention can also be passive, acknowledging the risk and its potential consequences without taking specific actions to mitigate it. 5. Risk sharing. Premiums and losses of each member of a group of policyholders are allocated within the group based on a predetermined formula. 6. Exploiting opportunities. Identify and pursue opportunities that may arise from taking calculated risks. Risk management process. There are 5 basic steps in managing risks. These steps are known as the risk management process. The risk management process is a framework for the actions that should be taken. Risk management entails identifying, analyzing, prioritizing, treating, and monitoring potential risks. However, it is necessary to emphasize that it is essential to understand the circumstances in a firm's risk management process. This is necessary to understand the context of the risk management process to establish the criteria used to evaluate the risk and define the structure of the required analysis. Here are the 5 steps of the risk management process. Step 1. Identify the risk. The company identifies and defines potential risks that may negatively influence a specific company process or project. The organization should uncover, recognize, and describe risks affecting the firm's project or outcomes. Based on the identified risks, a risk register must be created. Risks can be identified in an organization through several techniques. I suggest you see my video on the 75 ways to identify risk in an organization. See the video link in the description below. Step 2. Analyze the risk. Risk analysis aims to understand each specific instance of risk and its influence on the company's operations. This is necessary to understand the nature of the risk and its impacts on the company's operations. After identifying potential risks, the next step is to determine the likelihood and consequence of each risk. After identifying risks, the company must evaluate them to ascertain their likelihood and consequences. The company's risk register must be updated using this information. Step 3. Evaluate and rank the risk. The company must decide whether the risk is acceptable or severe enough to warrant treatment. It would be best to evaluate and rank the risk by determining its magnitude, which is the combination of likelihood and consequence. The risk should be further assessed after determining its overall probability of occurrence combined with its impact. The company can decide whether the risk is acceptable and willing to take it based on its risk appetite. The risk rankings information must also be included in the risk register. Step 4. Treat the risk, also known as risk response planning. During this step, companies assess their highest ranked risks and develop a plan to alleviate them using specific risk controls. These plans include risk mitigation processes, risk prevention tactics, and contingency plans for when the risk materializes. During this step, the company should assess the highest ranked risks and plan to treat or modify these risks to achieve acceptable risk levels. How could the company minimize the probability of threats and maximize opportunities? To address this situation, the company should create risk mitigation strategies, preventive plans, and contingency plans to treat the company's risk exposures. The company should also include measures for treating risks based on risk ranking and severity in the company's risk register. Step 5. Monitor and review the risk. This is where the company should use the risk register to monitor, track, and review risks. The mitigation plan includes following up on risks and risk plans to monitor and track new and existing threats. The overall risk management process should be reviewed and updated regularly. Internal and external shareholders should be involved in communication and consultation at each process step. Limitations of risk management. While risk management is a crucial process for organizations, it has limitations. Recognizing these limitations is essential for maintaining a realistic understanding of the practice. Here are some limitations of risk management. 1. Incomplete information. Risk assessments heavily rely on available information. Detailed and accurate data can provide an adequate understanding of potential risks. 2. Uncertainty and complexity. Many risks are inherently uncertain and complex. Predicting and quantifying such risks accurately can be challenging, leading to potential oversights. 3. Human factors. Human behavior and decision-making introduce an element of unpredictability. Employee actions, errors, and unethical conduct may not be fully anticipated or managed through risk management. 4. Black swan events. Risk management often struggles to account for rare, High-impact events, commonly known as black swans. These infrequent events have significant consequences but are challenging to predict or mitigate effectively. 5. Dynamic business environment. The business environment is dynamic, with constant technological changes, regulations, market conditions, and other factors. Risk management strategies may become outdated quickly if they do not adapt to these changes. 6. Overemphasis on quantitative analysis. Relying too heavily on quantitative risk assessments may lead to overemphasizing measurable risks, neglecting qualitative factors that can substantially impact the organization. 7. False sense of security. The existence of a risk management process does not guarantee immunity from risks. More reliance on risk management strategies may create a false sense of security, leading to complacency. 8. Resource constraints. Organizations, especially smaller ones, may need more time, expertise, and financial resources. This can limit the depth and effectiveness of risk management efforts. 9. Inadequate response planning. Risk management identifies potential risks but may only sometimes provide foolproof response plans. Inadequate preparation for risk response can hinder an organization's ability to navigate crises effectively. 10. Subjectivity and bias. Risk assessments are influenced by those involved in the subjective judgments and biases. Individuals may perceive and evaluate risks differently, affecting overall risk management. 11. Cultural and behavioral factors. Organizational culture and employee behavior play significant roles in risk management. Cultural factors, such as resistance to change or lack of openness to feedback, can impede the effectiveness of risk management practices. 12. Regulatory changes. Evolving regulations and compliance requirements can introduce new risks or alter the landscape of existing risks. Organizations may need help to keep up with and adapt to regulatory changes. 13. Difficulty measuring intangible risks. Some risks, such as reputational or brand risks, are intangible and challenging to measure accurately. Hence, there is a need to monitor the risk management process. 14. Lack of standardization. The lack of standardized risk assessment methodologies can result in inconsistencies across industries and organizations, making it difficult to benchmark and compare risk management practices effectively. Despite these limitations, a practical risk management approach acknowledges these challenges and seeks to balance quantitative and qualitative analysis while remaining adaptable to the dynamic nature of the business environment. Continuous improvement and a willingness to learn from successes and failures contribute to overcoming some of these limitations. After explaining the meanings, importance, structure, strategies, process, and limitations of risk management, let us discuss the phases of crisis management. The phases of crisis management. The crisis management process involves stages designed to help organizations effectively respond to and recover from crises. It consists of a series of coordinated actions and strategies to handle a critical situation and mitigate its impact on an organization. Here are the 6 basic phases of crisis management. Phase 1, Prevention and Mitigation. This phase involves risk assessment and management to identify potential threats. It entails identifying potential crises and taking proactive measures to prevent or minimize their impact. Organizations invest in employee training, technology upgrades, and regular audits to mitigate risks. For example, a manufacturing company may install safety systems and conduct routine equipment checks to prevent workplace accidents. An IT company regularly updates its cybersecurity measures to avoid data breaches. They also conduct regular employee training on cybersecurity best practices to mitigate the risk of a security crisis. Phase 2, Preparedness. Preparedness is about having a well-defined crisis management plan in place. It entails developing plans, protocols, and resources to respond effectively to potential crises. This includes assembling a crisis management team, creating communication channels, and conducting training and simulation exercises. An example is a hospital preparing for a natural disaster with evacuation plans, medical supply stockpiles, and staff trained in emergency response protocols. Likewise, an airline company may have a detailed crisis management plan that includes communication protocols, emergency response teams, and training drills to prepare for various scenarios, such as accidents or natural disasters. Phase 3, Response. This phase is about executing the predefined strategies in response to the crisis. It entails implementing the crisis management plan to contain and address the immediate impact once a crisis occurs. For instance, a technology company facing a significant system failure would activate its IT response team, initiate backup systems, and communicate with clients about the temporary service disruption. Similarly, if a food manufacturing company discovers a contamination in one of its products, the response phase involves recalling the affected products, communicating with the public and regulatory bodies, and conducting an internal investigation to identify the source of the contamination. Phase 4, Communication. Communication during a crisis is crucial for maintaining trust and managing the narrative. This is necessary to establish effective communication channels to keep stakeholders informed and manage public perception. Organizations should provide timely and accurate information to internal and external stakeholders. In the case of a product recall, a company would communicate transparently about the issue, outline steps being taken, and provide guidance on customer actions. A pharmaceutical company facing a product recall communicates transparently with the public. It must provide information on the reasons for the recall, potential risks, and steps to address the issue. Regular updates and clear communication help maintain trust. Phase 5, Recovery. The recovery phase involves fixing the immediate issues and addressing long-term consequences. It enables the organization to resume normal operations and restore a stable state post-crisis. This could include rebuilding infrastructure, compensating affected parties, and implementing changes to prevent future occurrences. An example is an airline recovering from a significant safety incident by conducting thorough investigations, implementing new safety measures, and restoring customer confidence through marketing and public relations efforts. Similarly, a financial institution that faced a significant security breach works to recover by implementing enhanced security measures, compensating affected customers, and launching a public relations campaign to rebuild trust in their services. Phase 6, Learning and Improvement. After the crisis has been managed, organizations should analyze the entire process to identify strengths and weaknesses. This phase involves learning from the experience, adjusting crisis management plans, and implementing improvements. This phase helps an organization to conduct a thorough review of the crisis management process, identify areas for improvement, and update protocols for future crises. A financial institution, for instance, might review its response to a cyber attack, identify security gaps, and invest in advanced cybersecurity measures to prevent future breaches. Likewise, an oil company experiences a pipeline leak, resulting in environmental damage. In the learning phase, the company analyzes the incident, revises safety protocols, and invests in new technologies to prevent similar accidents in the future. These phases of crisis management are interconnected, and organizations often revisit and update their crisis management plans based on new information, emerging risks, and lessons learned from past incidents. Each phase is critical in ensuring an organization's resilience and ability to navigate challenging situations. Effective crisis management requires continuous evaluation and adaptation to ensure the organization remains resilient despite unforeseen challenges. Consequently, creating a crisis management plan, CMP, is essential for organizations to respond and recover from unexpected events effectively. Hence, organizations need to have crisis management plans. Crisis Management Plan. A crisis management plan, CMP, is a structured and comprehensive document that outlines an organization's strategies, protocols, and procedures for effectively managing and responding to potential crises. A crisis management plan describes the required actions during crises. A crisis management plan, CMP, outlines how an organization should respond to a crucial problem that, if left unaddressed, could negatively affect its profitability, reputation or ability to operate. A crisis management plan, CMP, describes how a business will react to a crisis, including who will be involved and what they will do. The plan aims to guide the organization's response to various emergencies or critical incidents, minimizing the impact on operations, reputation, and stakeholders. A CMP focuses on the immediate response to a crisis, aiming to minimize damage, protect stakeholders and restore normal operations as quickly as possible. It outlines specific actions, communication strategies and protocols for managing crises effectively. A crisis management plan, CMP, is crucial to organizational preparedness. Let us consider its importance, purpose, and benefits. The importance of a crisis management plan. 1. Proactive risk management. Crises can strike any time, and being unprepared can lead to chaos and costly mistakes. A CMP helps organizations to identify potential risks and vulnerabilities in advance. By recognizing and understanding potential crises, organizations can take proactive measures to minimize the likelihood and impact of these events. 2. Timely and coordinated response. A well-defined plan ensures a rapid and coordinated response in a crisis. This helps mitigate the crisis's immediate impact and reduces the likelihood of the situation escalating. 3. Protecting reputation and stakeholder trust. Effective crisis management helps protect an organization's reputation. Clear and transparent communication during a crisis demonstrates accountability and helps maintain the trust of customers, employees, investors, and the wider community. 4. Legal and regulatory compliance. Many industries are subject to legal and regulatory requirements related to crisis management. A CMP helps organizations comply with these obligations, reducing the risk of legal consequences and penalties. The purpose of a crisis management plan. A crisis management plan serves several crucial purposes in helping organizations respond effectively to and manage crises. Here are the primary purposes. 1. Preparedness. The primary purpose of a crisis management plan is to ensure that an organization is prepared to respond effectively to various types of crises. By developing and implementing a comprehensive plan in advance, organizations can minimize the impact of crises and improve their ability to handle them when they occur. 2. Risk identification and assessment. A crisis management plan facilitates the identification and assessment of potential risks and vulnerabilities that could lead to crises. By conducting risk assessments and scenario planning, organizations can anticipate potential threats and develop strategies to mitigate them. 3. Establishing response protocols. A crisis management plan outlines steps and protocols to be followed during a crisis. This includes defining roles and responsibilities, establishing communication channels, and guiding decision-making processes. 4. Communication strategy. One essential purpose of a crisis management plan is to define a clear and effective communication strategy. This strategy involves internal and external communication with stakeholders, the media, and the public. 5. Resource allocation. The plan helps organizations allocate resources effectively during a crisis, including personnel, financial resources, and equipment. It should outline how to allocate human and material resources during a crisis, ensuring that the organization has the tools and personnel to respond effectively. Organizations can optimize their response efforts by prioritizing resources based on the severity and impact of the crisis. 6. Response coordination. One of the essential purposes of a crisis management plan is to facilitate the coordination of response efforts during a crisis. The plan outlines the roles and responsibilities of individuals and teams involved in crisis response, ensuring clear lines of communication and decision-making. 7. Communication strategy. A crisis management plan includes a communication strategy for effectively communicating with internal and external stakeholders during a crisis. This includes protocols for notifying stakeholders, providing updates and information, and managing media relations. 8. Mitigation of impact. A crisis management plan includes strategies for mitigating crises' impact on the organization, its operations, and its stakeholders. This may involve implementing preventive measures, such as risk controls and contingency plans, to minimize the likelihood and severity of crises. 9. Recovery and restoration. In addition to response efforts, the plan addresses strategies for recovery and restoration following a crisis. This includes measures to restore normal operations, rebuild stakeholder trust, and recover any losses incurred during the crisis. 10. Compliance and legal considerations. A crisis management plan ensures that organizations comply with relevant laws, regulations, and industry standards during a crisis. It includes protocols for addressing legal and regulatory requirements, managing liabilities, and protecting the organization's reputation. 11. Continuous improvement. Finally, a crisis management plan serves as a tool for continuous improvement. By evaluating the effectiveness of response efforts after a crisis, organizations can identify lessons learned and areas for improvement, updating the plan accordingly to enhance preparedness for future crises. Overall, a crisis management plan enables organizations to effectively prepare for, respond to, and recover from crises, thereby minimizing their impact and ensuring their resilience and continuity. Benefits of a crisis management plan. 1. Reduced impact of crises. A well-executed crisis management plan, CMP, helps reduce the impact of crises by enabling organizations to respond swiftly and effectively. This can minimize damage to property, reputation, and operations. 2. Enhanced resilience. Organizations with a CMP are more resilient in adversity. Adapting to and recovering from crises is crucial, allowing the organization to continue operating with minimal disruption. 3. Improved decision-making. Predefined protocols and decision-making processes in a CMP help make quick and informed decisions during a crisis, preventing delays and ensuring a more effective response. 4. Maintained stakeholder confidence. Effective crisis management, including transparent communication, helps maintain the confidence of stakeholders. This is crucial for preserving customer loyalty, employee morale, and investor trust. 5. Legal and regulatory compliance. Compliance with legal and regulatory requirements is a significant benefit of having a CMP. This reduces the risk of legal consequences and demonstrates a commitment to responsible business practices. Who uses crisis management plans? Many organizations across various sectors and industries utilize crisis management plans. The need for crisis management is universal, as unexpected events and emergencies can impact any organization. The primary users of crisis management plans include 1. Businesses and corporations. Large and small manufacturing, technology, finance, and retail businesses use crisis management plans to prepare for events that could disrupt operations, damage reputation, or pose financial risks. 2. Government agencies. Local, regional, and national government agencies develop crisis management plans to address emergencies such as natural disasters, public health crises, security threats, and other situations that may require coordinated responses. 3. Non-profit organizations. Non-profit organizations, including NGOs and charities, use crisis management plans to handle situations that could impact their ability to fulfill their missions, disrupt services, or harm their reputation. 4. Educational institutions. Schools, colleges, and universities have crisis management plans to respond to emergencies on campus, such as natural disasters, accidents, or security incidents. These plans aim to ensure the safety of students, staff, and faculty. 5. Healthcare organizations. Hospitals, clinics, and healthcare facilities develop crisis management plans to handle public health crises, infectious disease outbreaks, and other emergencies that may strain healthcare resources and require rapid response. 6. Critical infrastructure providers. Organizations responsible for critical infrastructure, such as energy, transportation, and telecommunications, use crisis management plans to address situations that could disrupt essential services and impact the wider community. 7. Event management and hospitality. Companies involved in event planning, hospitality, and tourism develop crisis management plans to address unforeseen issues during large gatherings, conferences, or major events. 8. Public relations and communication agencies. Communication professionals and public relations agencies use crisis management plans to guide their response strategies when helping clients navigate reputational challenges and crises. 9. Manufacturing and industry. Manufacturing plants and industrial facilities develop crisis management plans to respond to accidents, environmental incidents, supply chain disruptions, or other events that could impact production and worker safety. 10. Transportation and logistics. Airlines, shipping companies, and transportation providers create crisis management plans to address incidents like accidents, security threats, or disruptions to the transportation network. 11. Technology companies. IT and technology companies develop crisis management plans to respond to cybersecurity breaches, system failures, and other technological emergencies that could impact data security and service availability. The common thread among these users is recognizing the potential for unforeseen events to disrupt normal operations and the need to be prepared to manage crises effectively. Developing and implementing crisis management plans demonstrate a commitment to resilience, risk mitigation, and protecting stakeholders' interests. Characteristics of crisis management plans. 1. The company's executive must be involved in developing a risk management plan. Every crisis management team member should have a say in the plan. Each one needs to give valuable input and suggestions. 2. The crisis management plan should consider all identified problem areas and suggest a possible solution to help the organization emerge from the crisis as soon as possible. 3. Crisis management plans must be realistic and solve the purpose of saving the organization's reputation and name. Steps to creating a crisis management plan. Creating a crisis management plan, CMP, involves several vital steps to ensure the organization is well prepared to handle potential crises effectively. By having a crisis management plan, any organization can be better prepared to navigate difficult situations, protect its reputation, and ensure the safety and well-being of its stakeholders. Here are the steps involved in creating a crisis management plan. 1. Assess the company's risks. The first step in creating a crisis management plan is a risk assessment, identifying potential issues and crises that disrupt a business function and processes. Work with members of leadership, the crisis response team, and other key stakeholders to begin listing all relevant threats and vulnerabilities that could impact the organization. These might include public relations blunders, social media gaffes, product recalls, cyber attacks, workplace issues, and extreme weather events. 2. Determine the business impact. A business impact analysis, BIA, qualifies the potential impact of a business disrupting issue. Completing a BIA can reveal several potential consequences, including customer dissatisfaction or attrition, damaged reputation, lost or delayed sales or income, increased costs, and regulatory fines. A BIA is crucial to ensure that an organization considers every threat angle. It can also help make a business case for anyone who needs help seeing the value of issues and crisis management plans. 3. Identify contingencies. Crisis management plans help determine what risks could impact a business and identify which actions would help the organization respond effectively to each threat. Consider the steps required to resolve the issue, what resources would be necessary, and how employees can help. For example, the response to a social media blunder might include the company's digital team issuing statements across all the company's social media platforms. Likewise, the company's customer service team must be trained to address and communicate with customers to manage crises. Meanwhile, the product recall plan requires information technology, IT, and logistics help to determine how to fix the problem. At the same time, customer service, sales, and public relations work together to answer customer questions and protect the company's good standing. 4. Develop the plan. Once the company has determined a contingency for each potential threat, flesh out the plans by working with relevant stakeholders. Key employees, such as department heads, can help provide insight into available resources and possible hurdles. The company may also need input from outside parties, such as contractors and partners that work closely with the business. Relevant regulatory requirements must also be considered, as must how the organization will continue to meet them, even during a crisis. 5. Familiarize users. All employees must understand their roles during a crisis. Stress and panic can make it difficult for officers to remember their roles in a crisis response. However, there are two ways to mitigate the effects of stress. First, employees must be provided with necessary crisis management and response information. During the tense moments of a crisis, people require immediate access to straightforward information. Consider ways to quickly and effectively distribute a crisis playbook, such as through a crisis management app, which includes real-time access to up-to-date documents, incident reporting, contact lists, messaging capabilities, and collaboration tools. Second, stakeholders should be educated on the company's issues and crisis management plan. Stage regular drills and rehearsals to ensure everyone is familiar with the plan and responds appropriately. 6. Revisit the plan frequently. The crisis management plan must be reviewed regularly. It is vital to keep the plan current, especially as employees join or leave the company, new technologies are implemented, and other changes occur. Reviewing and testing the plan at least annually is helpful to keep the content fresh. This is another area where an issue and crisis management app can help. The app supports the platform automatically, publishing updates to each user's smartphone to ensure critical stakeholders can access updated resources. If a PR nightmare or a product recall strikes on a Saturday afternoon, the information must be accessible by the team for updating and prompt response. After discussing the characteristics and steps involved in a crisis management plan, it is essential to examine the components of a crisis management plan. Components of a crisis management plan. An effective crisis management plan has 10 essential elements. A good crisis plan possesses various elements that prepare crisis team members to perform their duties when a crisis occurs effectively. Here are the critical components of a crisis management plan. 1. Risk assessment. Identify potential risks and threats to the organization. Consider natural disasters, technological failures, security breaches, public relations issues, and other emergencies. Conduct a thorough risk assessment to understand each scenario's likelihood and potential impact. A specific sense of the company's potential occurrences will help to improve the planning process. It is not necessary to include every conceivable risk, but cover a broad range, including natural disasters, cyber attacks, technology failure, the death of the CEO, workplace activities, financial crises, operational accidents, and products failure. 2. Establish a crisis management team. A crisis management team is a dedicated group of individuals within an organization responsible for managing and coordinating the response to a crisis. The team is instrumental in making critical decisions, communicating effectively, and implementing strategies to mitigate the impact of the crisis. The composition of a crisis management team can vary depending on the nature of the organization and the specific risks it faces. The effectiveness of a crisis management team relies on collaboration, clear communication, and the ability to make timely and informed decisions. Regular training, simulation exercises, and ongoing review of the crisis management plan help ensure the team's preparedness and effectiveness in managing crises when they occur. Form a dedicated crisis management team comprising critical individuals from various departments. Define roles and responsibilities for each team member. Include a crisis manager, spokesperson, communication coordinator, and subject matter experts. 3. Communication protocols. Develop clear and effective communication protocols for both internal and external stakeholders. Define communication channels, establish a chain of command, and create templates for communication materials. Ensure that the communication strategy aligns with the organization's values and priorities. Effective communication is a critical component of crisis management. Establishing precise and efficient communication protocols ensures that information is disseminated accurately and promptly internally and externally. When developing crisis management communication protocols, key elements include designating a spokesperson, communication channels, chain of command, internal communication, external communication, message consistency, real-time updates, employee communication, training and simulation, social media management, post-crisis communication, and feedback mechanism. Regularly reviewing and updating communication protocols, conducting training sessions, and learning from past incidents is essential to ensure that crisis communication remains effective and adaptive to changing circumstances. 4. Response protocols. Regular testing through simulations and exercises is crucial to ensure that response protocols are well understood and can be executed effectively during an actual crisis. Review and update the SAY protocols based on lessons learned from training sessions and actual incidents. Crisis management response protocols are essential guidelines that outline the specific actions and procedures to follow during a crisis. Outline step-by-step procedures for responding to particular types of crises. These protocols help ensure a swift, organized, and effective response to mitigate the impact of the crisis. This should include activation criteria, decision-making processes, and immediate actions to be taken. Address how the organization will assess the situation, coordinate resources, and manage the crisis in its early stages. 5. Resource allocation. Identify and allocate resources required during a crisis. This includes human resources, equipment, facilities, and any external support that may be needed. Establish agreements with external partners or suppliers who can assist in times of crisis. Crisis management resource allocation is critical to the crisis response strategy. Effectively managing and allocating resources during a crisis ensures a swift and coordinated response to mitigate the impact. By careful planning, prioritizing, and managing resources, organizations can enhance their ability to respond effectively to crises and minimize the impact on their operations, reputation, and stakeholders. Regular testing and evaluation of resource allocation plans through simulations contribute to continuous improvement and readiness. 6. Training and drills. Conduct regular training and simulation drills to ensure the crisis management team knows their roles and responsibilities. Simulations help identify potential weaknesses in the plan and improve the team's ability to respond effectively. Crisis management training and drills are essential components of a proactive approach to handling emergencies effectively. These activities help prepare the crisis management team and other relevant personnel to respond swiftly and decisively in a crisis. Crisis management training and drills play a crucial role in maintaining organizational readiness and improving the effectiveness of crisis response efforts. Regularly reviewing and updating the crisis management plan based on insights gained from these activities ensures continuous improvement and adaptability to emerging challenges. 7. Stakeholder management. Develop strategies for managing relationships with various stakeholders, such as customers, employees, suppliers, regulatory bodies, and the media. Effective stakeholder management is a critical aspect of crisis management. Stakeholders include individuals, groups, or organizations that are interested in or are affected by the organization's actions, decisions, or performance. Identify key messages and spokespersons for different scenarios. Establish a protocol for regular updates and engagement with stakeholders. Effective stakeholder management during a crisis contributes significantly to maintaining trust, preserving reputation, and ensuring the organization's resilience. Regularly review and update stakeholder management strategies based on lessons learned from each crisis management event. 8. Recovery and restoration plans. This may involve process changes, infrastructure improvements, and ongoing communication efforts. These plans focus on the activities and measures needed to help the organization recover from the immediate impact of a crisis, restore normal operations, and address any long-term consequences. By integrating recovery and restoration plans into the overall crisis management strategy, organizations can effectively navigate the post-crisis phase, minimize long-term outcomes, and emerge more robust and resilient. Outline plans for the recovery phase, including how the organization will resume normal operations, restore services, and address long-term consequences. Crisis management recovery and restoration plans are essential to the crisis management strategy. 9. Documentation and evaluation. Crisis management documentation and evaluation are crucial to the overall crisis management process. These activities help organizations capture essential information, learn from their experiences, and continuously improve their crisis management plans and responses. Define crisis documentation procedures, including incident reports, communication records, and post-crisis evaluations. Regularly review and update the SEMP based on lessons learned from simulations, actual incidents, and organizational changes. Organizations can enhance their resilience, responsiveness, and adaptability in the face of future challenges by prioritizing documentation and evaluation as integral parts of the crisis management lifecycle. 10. Legal and regulatory compliance. Crisis management legal and regulatory compliance is crucial to effectively navigating and responding to crises. Ensuring that crisis management efforts align with applicable laws and regulations helps organizations avoid legal consequences and demonstrate responsible business practices. Organizations can build resilience, protect their reputation, and reduce the risk of legal implications by prioritizing legal and regulatory compliance in crisis management. Collaboration between legal experts and crisis management teams is essential for navigating complex legal landscapes during times of crisis. The crisis management plan must align with legal and regulatory requirements relevant to the organization's industry. Compliance with these standards is crucial for avoiding legal consequences and demonstrating responsible business practices. 11. Review and update. A SEMP is a living document that should be regularly reviewed and updated. Changes in the organization's structure, operations, or external environment may necessitate adjustments to the plan. By incorporating these practices into the ongoing management of the crisis management plan, organizations can enhance their preparedness, responsiveness, and resilience in the face of evolving threats and challenges. Conduct periodic audits to ensure its continued effectiveness. Regular reviews and updates ensure that the plan remains a dynamic and adaptive tool for mitigating the impact of crises. Regularly reviewing and updating the crisis management plan is essential to ensure its effectiveness and relevance in addressing emerging threats and changing organizational dynamics. Crisis communication is vital in managing crises. Crisis communication plans must be precise and well articulated for employees, the public, and key external stakeholders. Let us discuss crisis communication. Crisis communication. Crisis communication is a vital component of any crisis management plan. Crisis communication is a crucial element of effective crisis management, focusing on how an organization communicates with internal and external stakeholders during challenging and potentially damaging situations. It focuses on how an organization communicates with its stakeholders, employees, customers, media, and the public, during a crisis. Successful crisis communication aims to maintain trust, manage perceptions, and provide accurate information to stakeholders. The importance of crisis communication. Crisis communication is critical in safeguarding an organization's reputation, protecting stakeholders, guiding behavior, and supporting business continuity efforts during crises. Organizations that prioritize effective crisis communication are better equipped to navigate crises successfully and emerge more robust in the aftermath. Crisis communication is of paramount importance to organizations during crises for several reasons, including 1. Maintaining trust and reputation. Effective crisis communication helps organizations maintain the trust and confidence of stakeholders, including customers, employees, investors, and the public. Transparent and timely communication demonstrates accountability and commitment to addressing the crisis, which can help preserve the organization's reputation. 2. Managing public perception. Crisis communication allows organizations to manage public perception and mitigate reputational damage. By providing accurate information and proactively addressing concerns, organizations can influence how stakeholders and the broader community perceive the crisis. 3. Reducing uncertainty and anxiety. During a crisis, stakeholders may experience uncertainty and anxiety about the situation and its potential impact. Clear and consistent communication helps alleviate these concerns by providing timely updates, explaining the problem, and outlining the organization's response efforts. 4. Guiding behavior and actions. Effective crisis communication guides stakeholder behavior and actions, helping them make informed decisions and take appropriate precautions. By directing what actions stakeholders should take in response to the crisis, organizations can help mitigate further risks and ensure safety. 5. Protecting employees and customers. Crisis communication is essential for protecting the safety and well-being of employees, customers, and other stakeholders. Clear instructions and updates on safety protocols, evacuation procedures, and other protective measures help ensure individuals respond appropriately to the crisis and minimize harm. 6. Supporting business continuity. Effective crisis communication is critical for supporting business continuity efforts. By keeping stakeholders informed about the organization's response efforts, continuity plans, and operational status, organizations can maintain confidence in their ability to navigate the crisis and resume normal operations as quickly as possible. 7. Addressing stakeholder concerns. During a crisis, stakeholders may have questions, concerns, or grievances that must be addressed. Crisis communication allows organizations to listen to stakeholder feedback, address their problems, and demonstrate empathy and understanding. 8. Compliance and legal considerations. Crisis communication helps organizations comply with legal and regulatory requirements related to transparency, disclosure, and reporting during crises. Failing to communicate effectively during a crisis can lead to legal and reputational consequences for the organization. 9. Learning and improvement. Effective crisis communication allows organizations to learn from the crisis experience and improve their response efforts. By soliciting feedback, evaluating communication strategies, and identifying lessons learned, organizations can enhance their crisis communication capabilities and resilience for future crises. Fundamental principles of crisis communication. The fundamental principles of crisis communication serve as guiding principles for organizations to manage communication during times of crisis effectively. These principles help organizations maintain trust, manage perceptions, and mitigate reputational damage. Here are some fundamental principles of crisis management. 1. Be proactive, anticipate potential crises and prepare communication strategies and messages in advance. Proactive communication allows organizations to respond quickly and effectively when a crisis occurs, minimizing its impact. 2. Be transparent, provide accurate and timely information to stakeholders, even if it is difficult or uncomfortable. Transparency builds trust and credibility and demonstrates the organization's commitment to honesty and accountability. 3. Be honest, communicate openly and honestly about the situation, including acknowledging mistakes or shortcomings. Honesty fosters trust and credibility, whereas dishonesty can lead to further distrust and reputational damage. 4. Be empathetic, show empathy and understanding towards those affected by the crisis, including employees, customers, and other stakeholders. Acknowledge their concerns and emotions, and demonstrate compassion in your communication. 5. Be clear and consistent, use clear and straightforward language to convey messages, avoiding jargon or technical terms that may confuse stakeholders. Consistency in messaging across all communication channels helps prevent confusion and reinforces key points. 6. Be accessible to stakeholders for questions, concerns, and feedback. Provide multiple communication channels, such as hotlines, email, social media, and press conferences, to ensure they can reach out easily. 7. Be responsive, respond promptly to stakeholder inquiries and concerns, even if you do not have all the answers immediately. Acknowledge receipt of messages and provide regular updates as new information becomes available. 8. Be strategic, develop a communication strategy that aligns with organizational goals and objectives. Consider the needs and expectations of different stakeholders and the potential impact of communication on the organization's reputation and operations. 9. Be collaborative, involve key stakeholders, such as senior leadership, crisis management teams, and communication professionals, in developing and executing crisis communication plans. Collaborative decision-making ensures a coordinated and effective response. 10. Be prepared to adapt, monitor feedback and adjust communication strategies as needed based on stakeholder reactions, changing circumstances, and new developments. Flexibility and adaptability are essential for effectively managing communication during a crisis. Adhering to these fundamental principles of crisis communication, organizations can effectively manage communication during crises, maintain trust and credibility, and minimize reputational damage. Critical principles and considerations for effective crisis management. Here are fundamental principles and considerations for effective crisis communication. 1. Preparedness and planning. Develop a comprehensive crisis communication plan. This plan should outline critical roles and responsibilities, communication channels, spokespersons, and protocols for various crisis scenarios. 2. Clear leadership and coordination. Designate a clear leader and spokesperson for crisis communication. Ensure a coordinated effort within the crisis management team to deliver consistent messages and avoid confusion. 3. Timely and transparent communication. Communicate information to stakeholders quickly. Transparency is crucial to maintaining trust. Even if the organization does not have all the answers, communicating that the company is addressing the situation. 4. Accuracy and credibility. Ensure that all information communicated is accurate and credible. Inaccurate or misleading information can exacerbate the crisis and damage the organization's reputation. 5. Consistent messaging. Develop and stick to consistent critical messages throughout the crisis. This consistency helps establish a straightforward narrative and prevents conflicting information from circulating. 6. Adaptability and flexibility. Remain adaptable and flexible in communication strategies as the crisis evolves. Be prepared to adjust messaging based on new information, changing circumstances, and stakeholder feedback. 7. Consider various stakeholders. Tailor communication strategies to address the specific needs and concerns of different stakeholder groups, including employees, customers, suppliers, investors, regulatory bodies, and the media. 8. Employee communication. Prioritize internal communication to keep employees informed and address their concerns. Well-informed and engaged employees can be valuable advocates during a crisis. 9. Use of multiple communication channels. Utilize various communication channels, including press releases, social media, official website updates, email, and direct communication with stakeholders. Diversifying channels helps ensure that information reaches a broad audience. 10. Media relations. Develop a strategy for engaging with the media. Designate a media spokesperson, provide regular updates, and manage media inquiries to avoid sensationalism and misinformation. 11. Monitor and address social media. Monitor social media channels for mentions, feedback, and potential misinformation. Engage with stakeholders on social media platforms to provide accurate information and address concerns. 12. Express empathy and compassion. Communicate with empathy and compassion, especially if the crisis involves harm or negative consequences. Acknowledge the impact on affected individuals and communities. 13. Legal considerations. Work closely with legal advisors to ensure all communication complies with legal requirements. Be mindful of potential legal implications and avoid statements that could contribute to liability. 14. Post-crisis communication. Develop a post-crisis communication strategy to communicate recovery efforts, changes implemented to prevent future crises, and lessons learned from the experience. Reinforce a positive narrative and commitment to improvement. 15. Training and simulation exercises. Conduct training sessions and simulation exercises for the crisis management team to practice crisis communication strategies. This helps build confidence and ensures a more coordinated response during a crisis. By adhering to these principles and considering these essential aspects, organizations can enhance their ability to communicate effectively during crises, maintain stakeholder trust, and manage the overall impact on their reputation and operations. It is also essential to communicate crises through appropriate channels. Crisis communication channels. Here are the common crisis communication channels. 1. Media relations, press releases and conferences to address media inquiries and provide updates. 2. Website. The company's website must include a dedicated web page with crisis information, frequently asked questions, FAQs, and contact details. 3. Social media. Regularly update social media platforms to keep stakeholders informed and address public concerns. 4. Internal communication. Inform employees about the situation and their role in the response, and address any anxieties. Examples of crisis communication. Here are some examples of crisis communication in real-life scenarios. 1. Product recall. Toyota implemented a comprehensive crisis communication strategy when it faced a series of recalls due to safety concerns in 2009 and 2010. Toyota's CEO held press conferences to address the issues directly, apologized to customers, and outlined the company's steps to address the safety concerns. The company also provided regular updates through its website and social media channels to inform customers about the recall process and reassure them of its commitment to safety. 2. Natural disaster response. In 2012, when Hurricane Sandy struck the northeastern United States, the American Red Cross launched a crisis communication campaign to provide information and assistance to affected communities. The organization used social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook to share updates on relief efforts, coordinate volunteer activities, and provide emergency assistance to those in need. The American Red Cross also collaborated with local media outlets to disseminate important information and encourage donations to support recovery efforts. 3. Data breach notification. When Equifax experienced a massive data breach in 2017, exposing the personal information of millions of consumers, the company faced intense scrutiny and backlash from stakeholders. Equifax promptly notified affected individuals about the breach through email and direct mail, provided guidance on protecting their information, and offered free credit monitoring services. The company's CEO issued public apologies and appeared before Congress to testify about the breach and the company's response efforts. 4. Financial crisis management. During the global financial crisis 2008, banks and financial institutions faced unprecedented challenges and public scrutiny. Goldman Sachs, one of the world's largest investment banks, implemented a crisis communication strategy to address concerns about its role in the crisis and reassure stakeholders about its financial stability. The company's CEO participated in media interviews, issued public statements, and engaged with regulators to provide transparency about the firm's financial position and risk management practices. 5. Public health crisis. During the COVID-19 pandemic, governments, healthcare organizations, and businesses worldwide implemented crisis communication strategies to provide information, guidance, and support to the public. Public health authorities used press briefings, social media campaigns, and dedicated websites to communicate updates on the pandemic, share preventive measures, and dispel misinformation. Businesses implemented remote work policies, enhanced cleaning protocols, and adjusted operations to prioritize employee and customer safety while communicating these changes to stakeholders. These examples demonstrate the importance of effective crisis communication in various contexts and highlight organizations' strategies for addressing crises, maintaining trust, and protecting their reputation. Whether facing product recalls, natural disasters, data breaches, financial crises, or public health emergencies, organizations can benefit from proactive and transparent communication to navigate crises successfully. The crisis management team plays a vital role in crisis management. Hence, it is necessary to discuss the crisis management team. Crisis management team. A crisis management team is constituted to protect an organization against the adverse effects of a crisis. The crisis management team prepares an organization for inevitable threats. A crisis management team is a dedicated group of individuals within an organization responsible for managing and coordinating the response to a crisis. Organizations may set up crisis management teams to decide on future courses of action and devise strategies to help organizations overcome difficult times as soon as possible. A crisis management team is formed to respond immediately to warning signals of crisis and execute relevant plans to overcome emergencies. Roles of crisis management team. The crisis management team primarily focuses on the following. 1. Detecting the early signs of crisis. 2. Identifying the problem areas. 3. Sit with employees face to face and discuss the identified areas of concern. 4. Prepare a crisis management plan which works best during emergencies. 5. Encourage the employees to face problems with courage, determination, and a smile. Motivate them to maintain hope and deliver their level best. And 6. Help the organization overcome tough times and prepare for the future. Key roles in a crisis management team. The crisis management team is instrumental in making critical decisions, communicating effectively, and implementing strategies to mitigate the impact of the crisis. The composition of a crisis management team can vary depending on the nature of the organization and the specific risks it faces. Here are vital roles commonly found in a crisis management team. 1. Crisis manager. The crisis management team leader oversees overall decision-making and coordination. The crisis manager ensures the team follows the crisis management plan and directs efforts to contain and resolve the crisis. 2. Spokesperson, the individual designated to communicate with the media, stakeholders, and the public during a crisis. The spokesperson conveys accurate and timely information, manages the organization's reputation, and addresses concerns to maintain transparency. 3. Communication coordinator, the coordinator manages internal and external communication channels. This includes coordinating messaging, updating stakeholders, and ensuring consistency in communication across various platforms. The coordinator works closely with the spokesperson. 4. Operations coordinator oversees the operational aspects of crisis response. This may involve coordinating resources, implementing emergency procedures, and liaising with relevant departments to address immediate concerns and stabilize the situation. 5. Legal and compliance advisor. This advisor guides the legal and regulatory aspects related to the crisis. He ensures that the organization's response aligns with legal requirements and helps manage potential legal or regulatory issues. 6. Human Resources Representative addresses employee-related issues during a crisis, including ensuring employee safety, managing staffing concerns, and providing support services. This role helps maintain morale and productivity during challenging times. 7. IT and technical support addresses technical aspects of a crisis, especially relevant in cases of cybersecurity incidents, system failures, or technological emergencies. Coordinates with IT teams to restore systems and prevent further damage. 8. Logistics and Resource Manager. This person is responsible for identifying, allocating, and managing the resources needed to respond to the crisis. This includes personnel, equipment, facilities, and any external support required to manage the situation effectively. 9. Public Relations Advisor. This person provides strategic advice on public relations and helps shape the organization's external image during and after the crisis. They work closely with the spokesperson and communication coordinator to manage the narrative. 10. Subject matter experts. Depending on the nature of the crisis, suitable subject matter experts, such as environmental experts, medical professionals, or security specialists, may be included in the team. These individuals possess specialized knowledge of the crisis. However, the effectiveness of a crisis management team relies on collaboration, clear communication, and the ability to make timely and informed decisions. Regular training, simulation exercises, and ongoing review of the crisis management plan help ensure the team's preparedness and effectiveness in managing crises when they occur. Having discussed crisis management and risk management, let us examine the difference between crisis management and risk management. Differences between crisis management and risk management. Is crisis management and risk management the same? Crisis management and risk management are not the same, although they are closely related and complementary concepts. Each serves a distinct purpose within the broader organizational resilience and preparedness field. Crisis management and risk management are two sides of the same coin, to protect an organization from harm. However, they approach this goal from different angles. Crisis management is the set of actions and strategies an organization employs when facing an immediate threat or disruptive event that has the potential to harm the organization, its stakeholders, or its operations. Crisis management is typically reactive, focusing on handling the aftermath of an unexpected event and mitigating its impact. The primary goal of crisis management is to restore normal operations, protect the organization's reputation, and ensure the well-being of stakeholders. Risk management, on the other hand, is a broader and more proactive process. It involves identifying, assessing, and managing potential risks an organization may face. Risk management aims to prevent or mitigate the impact of adverse events before they escalate to crisis levels. It encompasses a systematic approach to understanding uncertainties, making informed decisions, and implementing strategies to manage positive and negative risks. Let us examine the similarities and differences between crisis management and risk management. Similarities of crisis management and risk management. 1. Focus on uncertainty. Crisis and risk management deal with uncertainty and potential adverse events. Both aim to minimize negative impacts on the organization. They aim to understand, assess, and address factors impacting an organization's objectives. 2. Preventive measures. Both disciplines involve proactive measures to minimize the impact of adverse events. Both involve planning and taking steps to address potential issues. Risk management focuses on preventing risks or reducing their likelihood and impact, while crisis management seeks to avoid crises or manage them effectively when they occur. 3. Holistic approach. Both approaches require a holistic view of the organization's operations. They involve considering various financial, operational, reputational, and strategic risks to understand potential challenges comprehensively. 4. Continuous improvement. Crisis and risk management involve continuous improvement processes. Lessons learned from past events and ongoing assessments contribute to refining strategies and enhancing organizational resilience over time. 5. Integration into organizational culture. Both disciplines are most effective when integrated into the organizational culture. When risk and crisis management become integral parts of an organization's operations and decision-making processes, they are more likely to be successful. Practical examples of similarities between crisis management and risk management. 1. Scenario planning. Crisis and risk management often involve scenario planning to anticipate potential events and their consequences. This could include simulating crises or assessing various risk scenarios to enhance preparedness. 2. Communication strategies. Both disciplines emphasize effective communication strategies. Clear communication helps stakeholders understand potential risks and mitigation measures in risk management. In crisis management, communication is critical to managing the narrative during and after a crisis. 3. Resource allocation. Efficient resource allocation is a common goal. In risk management, resources are allocated to prevent or mitigate potential risks. In crisis management, resource allocation is essential for responding effectively to the immediate aftermath of a crisis. 4. Leadership and coordination. Both crisis and risk management require strong leadership and coordination. Leadership is crucial for decision-making and guiding teams, while coordination ensures a cohesive response to potential risks or active crises. Differences between crisis management and risk management. 1. Focus on timing. Risk management focuses primarily on identifying and managing risks before they escalate into crises. It is a proactive approach to prevent or minimize the impact of potential issues. Crisis management mainly occurs after a crisis has already happened. It involves reactive strategies to handle the immediate aftermath of an event and mitigate its consequences. 2. Nature of events. Risk management encompasses a broader range of potential events, including positive and negative factors. It deals with uncertainties that may affect an organization's objectives. Crisis management addresses events that have escalated to a critical level and pose an immediate threat to the organization. Crises typically require urgent and decisive action. 3. Timing of decision-making. Risk management involves decision-making before an event occurs. It consists of anticipating potential risks, assessing their likelihood and impact, and deciding preventive measures. Crisis management involves making decisions before, during, and after a crisis. The focus is on managing the situation, communicating effectively, and implementing strategies to mitigate the impact. 4. Scope of activities. Risk management encompasses activities such as risk identification, risk assessment, risk mitigation planning, and ongoing monitoring of risks. It is a comprehensive process that spans the entire organizational structure. Crisis management involves specific actions to address the immediate impact of a crisis, including communication, resource allocation, and coordination of response efforts. It is more focused on the acute phase of a disruptive event. 5. Routine versus extraordinary events. Risk management deals with routine or everyday risks organizations face in their business operations. It is an ongoing and embedded process. Crisis management deals with extraordinary or unexpected events that disrupt normal operations and require an urgent and coordinated response. 6. Proactiveness versus reactiveness. Risk management emphasizes a proactive approach to anticipate and prevent potential risks before they escalate. Crises management involves a reactive approach, responding to events that have already occurred to minimize their impact and facilitate recovery. Practical examples of differences between crisis management and risk management. 1. Timing of actions. In risk management, actions are taken proactively before an event occurs. For example, a company is implementing cybersecurity measures to prevent data breaches. In crisis management, actions are taken reactively during or after an event, such as activating an emergency response plan after a natural disaster. 2. Nature of events. Risk management focuses on potential positive and adverse events. For instance, a manufacturing company conducts a risk assessment to identify supply chain vulnerabilities. Crisis management focuses on managing unexpected and severe events, like implementing a crisis communication plan during a product recall. 3. Scope of activities. Risk management encompasses ongoing activities, such as risk identification, assessment, and mitigation across various organizational functions. In contrast, crisis management involves specific activities to address the immediate impact of a crisis, including communication, resource allocation, and coordination of response efforts. 4. Focus on prevention versus response. Risk management strongly emphasizes preventing or minimizing the impact of potential risks. For example, a financial institution might implement strict security measures to prevent fraud. Crisis management focuses on responding effectively once a crisis has occurred, such as activating an emergency response team during a workplace incident. 5. Proactive measures versus reactive measures. Risk management involves proactive measures to identify and address potential risks before they escalate. For example, a pharmaceutical company conducts thorough testing and quality control to prevent product defects. Crisis management involves reactive measures to handle the immediate aftermath of an unexpected event, such as activating an emergency response team after a cyber attack. Both crisis and risk management focus on uncertainties and preventive measures. Yet, they differ in timing, the nature of events, and the scope of activities. Integrating both disciplines into an organization's overall risk governance framework contributes to a comprehensive and resilient risk management strategy. The implication is that robust crisis management is an effective crisis response, thereby promoting business continuity. Hence, there is a need to discuss crisis management, including crisis response, and business continuity. Crisis management and business continuity. Crisis management and business continuity are closely related concepts that work together to ensure organizations can effectively respond to and recover from disruptive events. While crisis management focuses on handling immediate threats and managing the aftermath of crises, business continuity focuses on maintaining essential functions and operations during and after a crisis. First, we consider crisis management, business continuity, and their components with practical examples. After that, we will highlight the benefits of organizations integrating crisis management and business continuity strategies. Crisis management, its components and practical examples. Crisis management involves the coordinated actions and strategies implemented to address and mitigate the impact of crises on an organization, its stakeholders, and its operations. Crisis management primarily focuses on the short-term response to crises, including emergency response, crisis communication, and stakeholder management. Critical components of crisis management include 1. Preparation. To ensure readiness for potential crises, develop crisis management plans, protocols, and communication strategies in advance. 2. Response. Activating crisis management plans and mobilizing resources to address the immediate impact of a crisis, including communication, coordination, and decision-making. 3. Recovery. Implementing measures to restore normal operations, mitigate long-term consequences, and facilitate organizational recovery and resilience. Crisis response is a crucial aspect of crisis management. Crisis response involves the immediate actions taken to address the impact of a crisis as it unfolds. It aims to mitigate the effects of the crisis, protect stakeholders, and restore normal operations as quickly as possible. Examples of crisis response. Practical examples of crisis response include: 1. Emergency response. In a natural disaster, such as a hurricane or earthquake, an organization activates its emergency response plan. This plan includes protocols for evacuating employees, securing facilities, and ensuring personnel safety. 2. Crisis communication. A company experiences a product recall due to safety concerns. The crisis management team immediately initiates a communication plan to inform customers, stakeholders, and the public about the issue, the steps being taken to address it, and any necessary actions they should take. 3. Resource allocation. An organization reallocates resources to prioritize IT security measures during a cybersecurity breach. This may involve deploying additional staff to address the breach, investing in cybersecurity tools, and enhancing monitoring systems to prevent further attacks. 4. Decision-making. In response to a sudden economic downturn, a company's leadership team convenes to make critical decisions regarding cost-cutting measures, resource reallocation, and strategic adjustments to mitigate financial losses and ensure the organization's survival. Business continuity, its components and practical examples. Business continuity refers to the proactive measures and strategies implemented to ensure the continued delivery of critical functions and services during and after a crisis. It focuses on providing the continuity of essential operations and services, minimizing downtime, and preserving the organization's ability to function during and after crises. It involves proactive planning, risk assessment, and strategy implementation to minimize downtime and protect organizational resilience. Critical components of business continuity include: 1. Risk assessment, identifying potential threats, vulnerabilities, and dependencies that could disrupt business operations. 2. Planning, developing business continuity plans and strategies to maintain essential functions, processes, and resources during crises. 3. Implementation, implementing business continuity measures, such as redundant systems, alternate facilities, and remote work arrangements, to ensure operational resilience. 4. Testing and exercises, conduct regular testing, drills, and exercises to validate business continuity plans, identify gaps, and enhance preparedness. Examples of business continuity. Practical examples of business continuity include: remote work arrangements. In response to a public health crisis, such as a pandemic, an organization implements remote work arrangements to ensure business continuity while adhering to social distancing guidelines. This involves effectively providing employees with the necessary technology, tools, and support to work from home. Alternate facilities. A company's primary manufacturing facility experiences a fire, rendering it temporarily unusable. The organization activates its business continuity plan, relocating production to alternate facilities or outsourcing manufacturing to third-party suppliers to minimize disruptions to product delivery. Redundant systems. An organization maintains redundant IT systems and data backups to ensure the continuity of critical operations during system failures, cyber attacks, or data breaches. These redundant systems allow for a seamless transition and minimal downtime during disruptions. Supply chain management. A company thoroughly assesses its supply chain vulnerabilities and diversifies its supplier base to reduce dependency on single sources. This proactive measure mitigates the risk of supply chain disruptions caused by natural disasters, geopolitical events, or economic fluctuations. Benefits of integrating crisis management and business continuity strategies by organizations. By integrating crisis management and business continuity strategies, organizations can effectively manage crises, maintain critical operations, and navigate disruptions while minimizing impacts on operations and stakeholders. Integrating both approaches into a comprehensive resilience framework strengthens organizational preparedness and enhances the ability to withstand and recover from crises. Here are some benefits of integrating crisis management and business continuity strategies into organizations. 1. Coordination. Close coordination between crisis management and business continuity teams ensures a seamless transition from crisis response to business recovery. 2. Learning and improvement. Insights gained from crisis management activities inform business continuity planning, leading to continuous improvement and enhanced organizational resilience. 3. Seamless transition. Effective integration ensures a seamless transition from crisis response to business continuity, allowing organizations to maintain essential functions while addressing immediate threats. 4. Learning and improvement. Insights gained from crisis response activities inform business continuity planning, thereby ensuring continuous improvement and organizational resilience. 5. Comprehensive resilience. Together, crisis response and business continuity form a comprehensive resilience framework that strengthens organizational preparedness and enhances the ability to withstand and recover from crises. How to overcome organizational crises. Organizations of all sizes face crises at some point. Overcoming an organizational crisis requires a strategic and comprehensive approach. The key to overcoming them lies in reactive and proactive measures. Here are key ways to navigate and overcome a crisis effectively. 1. Establish a crisis management team. Assemble a dedicated team with clear roles and responsibilities. This team should include representatives from various departments to ensure a holistic approach to crisis management. 2. Develop a crisis management plan. Create a robust crisis management plan that outlines response protocols, communication strategies, resource allocation, and recovery measures. Regularly review and update the plan to ensure its relevance and effectiveness. 3. Communication is key. Prioritize clear and transparent communication. Keep all stakeholders, including employees, customers, and the media, informed about the situation, the organization's response, and steps being taken to resolve the crisis. 4. Use multiple communication channels. Utilize various communication channels, including social media, press releases, official statements, and direct communication with stakeholders. Different channels cater to different audiences, ensuring a broad reach and consistent messaging. 5. Designate spokespersons. Designate specific individuals as official spokespersons to provide information and updates to the media and the public. Ensure that these spokespersons are trained in crisis communication and are well versed in the details of the crisis. 6. Coordinate response efforts. Coordinate response efforts across departments to ensure a unified and practical approach. Assign specific tasks to team members and regularly communicate to maintain alignment. 7. Resource allocation. Effectively allocate resources to address immediate needs and support long-term recovery. This includes financial resources, personnel, technology, and other critical assets. 8. Learn from the crisis. Conduct a thorough post-crisis analysis to understand the root causes, assess the response's effectiveness, and identify areas for improvement. Use this information to enhance future crisis management strategies. 9. Engage external support. Seek external expertise and support, including legal counsel, public relations professionals, and crisis management consultants. External perspectives can provide valuable insights and enhance the organization's response. 10. Rebuild stakeholder trust. Implement measures to rebuild trust with stakeholders. This may involve sincere apologies, corrective actions, and ongoing communication to demonstrate the organization's commitment to addressing the crisis and preventing recurrence. 11. Employee support and engagement, support employees who may be directly or indirectly affected by the crisis. Open communication channels, address their concerns and ensure their well-being during and after the crisis. 12. Adaptability and flexibility, respond to evolving circumstances with adaptability and flexibility. Adjust strategies and tactics as needed, considering new information and changing dynamics. 13. Legal and regulatory compliance, ensure that all actions taken during the crisis align with legal and regulatory requirements. Compliance with laws and regulations is crucial for avoiding legal consequences and maintaining the organization's reputation. 14. Continuous improvement culture, foster a culture of continuous improvement within the organization. Encourage a mindset that seeks to learn from crises, adapt strategies, and implement measures to enhance overall resilience. 15. Recovery and rebranding, develop a comprehensive plan addressing the immediate aftermath and long-term recovery and rebranding efforts. Highlight positive changes and improvements made as a result of the crisis. By combining these strategies, organizations can navigate crises successfully, minimize damage, and emerge stronger. A proactive and well-executed crisis management approach contributes to organizational resilience and the ability to handle future challenges effectively. The roles of employees in crisis management. Employees play a critical role in preventing and managing crises within an organization. The role of employees is crucial in managing and mitigating the impact of a crisis within an organization. Employees are an integral part of the crisis management process, and their actions, communication, and collaboration play a significant role in determining the organization's resilience. Here are critical aspects of the role employees play in a crisis. 1. Early detection and reporting. Employees are often the first to notice unusual patterns, potential risks, or early signs of a crisis. Encouraging a culture where employees feel comfortable reporting concerns promptly can lead to early detection and swift response. 2. Follow crisis protocols. Employees should be familiar with and trained on the organization's crisis management protocols and procedures. This includes knowing whom to contact, what actions to take, and how to use available resources during a crisis. 3. Effective communication. Clear and timely communication from employees is essential. This includes promptly reporting incidents, providing accurate information, and conveying relevant details to the crisis management team and other stakeholders. 4. Compliance with policies and procedures. Employees must adhere to established policies and procedures during a crisis. This includes following safety protocols, security measures, and crisis-specific guidelines to minimize further risk and ensure a coordinated response. 5. Assist in evacuation and safety measures. In situations that require evacuation or other safety measures, employees play a critical role in facilitating these actions. They should know evacuation routes, assembly points, and other safety protocols. 6. Cooperate with crisis management team. Employees must cooperate with the crisis management team and follow instructions provided by designated leaders. This includes respecting the chain of command, contributing relevant information, and actively participating in crisis response efforts. 7. Maintain a supportive work environment. Maintaining a supportive work environment is crucial for employee well-being during a crisis. Leaders and colleagues should offer emotional support, address concerns, and foster a sense of unity to help employees cope with stress and uncertainty. 8. Adaptability and flexibility. Employees should demonstrate adaptability and flexibility in responding to rapidly changing circumstances. This may involve adjusting work processes, roles, or responsibilities to align with the organization's crisis response strategies. 9. Protect sensitive information. Employees must be mindful of protecting sensitive information during a crisis. This includes safeguarding confidential data, respecting privacy concerns, and refraining from sharing unverified information that may contribute to misinformation. 10. Employee training and drills. Regular training sessions and crisis drills help prepare employees for potential crises. These exercises ensure that employees are familiar with crisis management procedures, understand their roles, and can respond effectively under pressure. 11. Crisis communication advocates. Employees can advocate for effective crisis communication. They can disseminate official information, correct misinformation, and help maintain a consistent and accurate narrative within and outside the organization. 12. Continuous improvement feedback. Employees should be encouraged to provide feedback on the organization's crisis response efforts. Their insights can contribute to continuous improvement, allowing the organization to learn from experiences and enhance its crisis management strategies. 13. Remote work collaboration. Employees may need to adapt to remote work in workplace crises, such as a pandemic. Proficiency in remote collaboration tools and effective communication are essential during such crises. 14. Post-crisis recovery support. Employees play a role in the post-crisis recovery phase by actively participating in efforts to rebuild and restore normalcy. Their commitment to the organization's recovery goals contributes to a faster and more effective recovery process. 15. Self-care and well-being. It is essential to encourage employees to prioritize self-care and well-being during and after a crisis. This includes mental health support, access to counseling services, and promoting a healthy work-life balance. Employees are frontline contributors to effective crisis management. By understanding their role and being well prepared, employees can be valuable assets in helping organizations navigate crises effectively. Their preparedness, cooperation, communication, and adaptability significantly influence the organization's ability to navigate and overcome crises. Fostering a culture of resilience and equipping employees with the necessary skills and knowledge ensures a more robust and coordinated response to crises. The roles of leaders in crisis management. Leaders are crucial in crisis management, guiding their teams and organizations during challenging and uncertain times. Leaders play a pivotal role in steering an organization through the chaos of a crisis. They are the ones who provide direction, inspire confidence, and make critical decisions that can impact the outcome of the situation. Here are the key roles that leaders fulfill in crisis management. 1. Decision-making. Leaders make timely and informed decisions during a crisis. These decisions may include activating response plans, allocating resources, and determining the overall crisis management strategy. Quick and effective decision-making is essential to minimizing the crisis's impact and guiding the organization toward recovery. 2. Communication. Leaders are primary communicators, conveying clear and transparent information to internal and external stakeholders. They address concerns, provide updates, and ensure consistent messaging. Effective communication builds trust, minimizes confusion, and helps maintain control over the narrative during a crisis. 3. Coordination and collaboration. Leaders coordinate efforts across departments and teams to ensure a unified and cohesive response. Collaboration is essential for maximizing resources and addressing the crisis comprehensively. Coordinated efforts enhance the organization's ability to respond swiftly and efficiently to emergencies. 4. Inspiration and motivation. Leaders inspire and motivate their teams, fostering resilience and determination. They provide a sense of purpose and reassure employees, instilling confidence in the organization's ability to overcome challenges. Maintaining morale is crucial for employee well-being and productivity during a crisis. 5. Crisis team leadership. Leaders often form and lead crisis management teams, ensuring each team member understands their responsibilities and contributes effectively to the overall response effort. A well-organized and efficient crisis management team navigates a crisis's complexities. 6. Adaptability and flexibility. Leaders demonstrate adaptability by adjusting strategies and plans based on evolving circumstances. They remain flexible in the face of uncertainty and are open to modifying approaches as needed. Adaptability is critical for responding effectively to changing conditions and emerging challenges during a crisis. 7. Resource allocation. Leaders allocate resources strategically, ensuring that critical assets, including finances, personnel, and technology, are utilized optimally to address immediate needs and support long-term recovery. Efficient resource allocation is essential to managing the crisis effectively and minimizing negative impacts. 8. Employee support. Leaders support employees affected by the crisis. This includes addressing their concerns, offering assistance programs, and ensuring their well-being throughout the crisis and recovery. Supporting employees enhances organizational resilience and maintains a positive workplace culture. 9. Learning from the crisis. Leaders facilitate a post-crisis analysis to identify lessons learned, strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. They use this information to enhance future crisis management strategies. Learning from the crisis contributes to continuous improvement and prepares the organization for future challenges. 10. Legal and ethical compliance. Leaders ensure that all actions taken during the crisis align with legal and ethical standards. Compliance with laws and regulations is crucial for avoiding legal consequences and maintaining the organization's reputation. Ethical conduct and legal compliance contribute to the organization's credibility and integrity during and after the crisis. 11. Transparency and honesty. Transparency is critical in crisis communication, including the dissemination of unfavorable news. Leaders should be honest about the situation and avoid sugarcoating the facts. 12. Maintaining morale. Crises can demoralize employees. Leaders should actively communicate, express empathy, and encourage open dialogue to maintain team spirit and motivation. 13. Leading the recovery process. Once the immediate crisis is contained, leaders should focus on recovery efforts. This involves rebuilding trust, restoring operations, and ensuring the well-being of employees. 14. Learning from mistakes. Every crisis presents an opportunity for learning and improvement. Leaders should conduct a thorough investigation to identify the root cause and revise the crisis management plan accordingly. 15. Building resilience. Effective leaders use a crisis as a catalyst to strengthen the organization's resilience. This might involve investing in risk management, improving communication protocols, or fostering a culture of preparedness. Consequently, leaders play a multifaceted role in crisis management, encompassing decision-making, communication, coordination, inspiration, adaptability, resource allocation, employee support, learning, and ethical compliance. Effective leadership is a cornerstone of successful crisis management, guiding organizations through challenges and positioning them for recovery and future resilience. Staff plays a crucial role in responding to crises, crisis response. Hence, there is a need to discuss crisis response and risk management. Crisis response and risk management. Crisis response and risk management are interconnected processes that help organizations navigate challenges and uncertainties. While risk management focuses on proactive measures to identify, assess, and mitigate potential risks, crisis response comes into play when an unexpected and often severe event occurs. Risk management constitutes a proactive defense for organizations. Risk management is a proactive approach that identifies potential threats to an organization. This may include a cyber attack and natural disaster. After identifying risks, a plan must be developed to mitigate and prevent the risks appropriately before their occurrence. This might involve installing security measures, developing business continuity plans, or conducting regular safety drills. Risk management is an ongoing process. As the organization and its environment evolve, new risks may emerge, and existing ones may change. Regular reviews and updates are crucial. Crisis response involves reacting to organizational challenges. It focuses on handling situations that occur despite risk management efforts. It consists of protocols to contain the crisis, minimize damage, and facilitate recovery. During a crisis, time is of the essence. Crisis response plans ensure a well-coordinated and efficient response, with clear roles and responsibilities for each crisis management team member. Effective communication with stakeholders, both internal and external, is vital during a crisis. Transparency and clear messaging help maintain trust and minimize negative impacts. Here is how these two concepts are related and contribute to organizational resilience. 1. Risk identification and assessment. Organizations identify potential risks and assess their likelihood and impact in the risk management process. This proactive approach allows for developing strategies to prevent or minimize the impact of these risks before they escalate into crises. 2. Prevention and mitigation. Strategies are implemented to prevent or mitigate the impact of potential risks. These could include enhanced security protocols, contingency planning, and resource diversification to reduce vulnerability. 3. Crisis preparedness. Organizations develop crisis preparedness plans as part of risk management. These plans outline the steps to take if specific risks arise, ensuring a structured and coordinated response. 4. Resource allocation. Optimal resource allocation is a crucial aspect of risk management. Identifying and prioritizing potential risks helps organizations allocate resources effectively, ensuring that they are well prepared to respond to crises if they occur. 5. Communication strategies. Communication strategies are incorporated into risk management plans to inform stakeholders about potential risks and the organization's efforts to address them. This proactive communication can contribute to maintaining trust during a crisis. 6. Crisis response activation. The crisis response plan must be activated during a crisis. This involves implementing the specific measures outlined in the crisis preparedness plan to address the crisis's immediate impact. 7. Adaptability and flexibility. A flexible and adaptable risk management approach allows organizations to adjust strategies as circumstances change. This adaptability is crucial when responding to crises, as the situation may evolve rapidly. 8. Decision-making support. The risk management process provides decision-makers with information about potential risks, supporting informed decision-making during pre-crisis and crisis phases. 9. Post-crisis analysis. Organizations conduct a post-crisis analysis as part of the risk management process. Lessons learned from the crisis should be used to update the company's risk management plans, enhancing its resilience and preparedness. 10. Continuous improvement. The risk management process fosters a culture of continuous improvement. Insights gained from crisis events contribute to refining risk assessments, updating risk management plans, and enhancing organizational resilience. 11. Stronger together. A robust risk management plan forms the foundation for effective crisis response. Organizations can react quickly and effectively when a crisis hits by identifying and preparing for potential threats. 12. Learning from experience. Every crisis offers an opportunity to learn and improve risk management strategies. Analyze what happened during a crisis to identify weaknesses in existing plans and update them accordingly. 13. Building resilience. The combined efforts of risk management and crisis response help organizations build resilience. Organizations can bounce back stronger from adversity by proactively preparing for challenges and effectively responding to them. The implication is that risk management acts as a preventative shield, while crisis response is the fire extinguisher at the ready. Both are essential for safeguarding the organization and ensuring its long-term success. Consequently, risk management and crisis response are integral components of an organization's overall strategy for managing uncertainties and challenges. While risk management focuses on proactive measures to prevent and mitigate risks, crisis response comes into play when these risks materialize into crises. Integrating these processes creates a comprehensive approach to organizational resilience, allowing for effective navigation of both expected and unexpected events. The role of risk management in managing crises. The role of risk management in managing crises is significant, as risk management practices play a crucial part in preventing, preparing for, and responding to potential threats that can escalate into crises. Risk management is the foundation for effective crisis management. It is the proactive older sibling who is always looking out for potential trouble, while crisis management is the one who jumps in to fix things when those issues become a reality. Risk management plays a vital role in crisis management. Here are some key aspects highlighting the role of risk management in crisis management. 1. Risk identification. Risk management involves identifying potential risks before they escalate into crises. Organizations can recognize and analyze vulnerabilities by conducting thorough risk assessments, enabling them to take preventive measures and implement risk mitigation strategies. 2. Prevention and mitigation. Risk management focuses on implementing proactive measures to prevent or mitigate the impact of potential risks. By addressing risks before they materialize, organizations can reduce the likelihood of crises occurring in the first place. 3. Crisis preparedness. Risk management contributes to crisis preparedness by establishing plans and procedures to address potential risks. These plans include crisis response protocols, communication strategies, and resource allocation strategies developed in advance based on identified risks. 4. Resource allocation. Risk management helps organizations optimize resource allocation by prioritizing and addressing high-impact risks. This ensures that resources are available and allocated effectively during a crisis, facilitating a more efficient response. 5. Scenario planning. Risk management often involves scenario planning and simulations, which help organizations practice responding to potential crises. These exercises enhance the organization's readiness and the crisis management team's ability to handle unforeseen events. 6. Decision-making support. The risk management process provides decision-makers with information about potential risks, their likelihood, and possible impacts. This information supports informed decision-making during both the pre-crisis and crisis phases. 7. Communication strategies. Effective risk management includes communication strategies to keep stakeholders informed about potential risks and the organization's efforts to address them. This proactive communication can enhance trust and credibility during a crisis. 8. Post-crisis analysis. Risk management contributes to the post-crisis analysis after a crisis. Organizations can evaluate the effectiveness of risk mitigation measures, identify any shortcomings, and update risk management strategies accordingly for continuous improvement. 9. Recovery planning. Risk management extends into the post-crisis stage by assisting in recovery planning. Risk management helps develop recovery strategies and measures to restore normal operations by understanding the crisis's impact on the organization. 10. Continuous improvement. Risk management is an iterative process that involves continuous improvement. Insights gained from crisis events are used to refine risk assessments, update risk management plans, and enhance organizational resilience over time. 11. Building trust. Proactive risk management demonstrates a commitment to safety and preparedness. This builds stakeholder trust, crucial during a crisis when clear and honest communication is essential for maintaining a good reputation. Robust risk management helps organizations anticipate problems, develop response strategies, and minimize the impact of a crisis. It is not about stopping crises but being prepared to weather the storm effectively. In essence, risk management serves as a proactive and ongoing foundation for effective crisis management. By identifying, assessing, and addressing potential risks, organizations can significantly reduce the likelihood and impact of crises and better navigate unexpected events when they occur. Integrating risk management into the broader crisis management framework enhances an organization's resilience and readiness. Lastly, let us consider practical tips for effective enterprise risk management in crises. Practical tips for effective risk management in crises. Here are some practical tips for effective enterprise risk management in crises, before, during, and after the crisis. 1. Proactive risk identification. Before a crisis, this goes beyond the standard risk assessments, including scenario planning to identify potential black swan events, that is, highly unlikely but impactful crises. 2. Crisis management plan. Before a crisis, develop a comprehensive crisis management plan that outlines roles, responsibilities, communication protocols, and response procedures for different crises. Review and update this plan regularly. 3. Communication channels. Establish clear and well-defined communication channels for internal and external stakeholders during a crisis. This can be achieved through drills and simulations. 4. Invest in training. Train employees at all levels on crisis response procedures, including their specific roles and responsibilities. This empowers them to react effectively during a crisis. 5. Cybersecurity measures. Cybersecurity breaches can quickly escalate into full-blown crises. Implement robust cybersecurity measures and have a plan for responding to cyber attacks. 6. Activate the crisis management team. Assemble the crisis management team immediately to assess the situation and initiate the response plan. 7. Gather accurate information. Focus on gathering accurate and timely information to guide decision-making. This may involve establishing a central information hub and fact-checking before issuing statements. 8. Transparent communication. Communicate openly and honestly with stakeholders, even when delivering bad news. The company must be transparent about its actions and provide regular updates. 9. Adapt and improvise. Crises can be unpredictable. Be prepared to adapt the response plan and improvise solutions based on the evolving situation. 10. Maintain employee well-being. Employees are often on the front lines of a crisis. Provide support services and encourage open communication to address employee anxieties and concerns. 11. Conduct a thorough after-action review. Once the immediate crisis has subsided, conduct a thorough after-action review to identify what went well and where improvements are needed. 12. Learn from mistakes. See the after-action review's findings to update the crisis management plan and address weaknesses exposed during the crisis. 13. Rebuild trust. The company must act appropriately to rebuild trust with stakeholders whom the crisis may have impacted. Demonstrate a commitment to learning from mistakes and preventing future occurrences. 14. Invest in continuous improvement. Crisis management is an ongoing process. Continuously improve the risk management and crisis response capabilities based on lessons learned and emerging threats. 15. Embrace technology. Leverage technology to enhance crisis response efforts. This could include using crisis management software, data analytics tools, and collaboration platforms. 16. Simulations and drills. Conduct crisis simulations and drills regularly to test the crisis management plan and identify areas for improvement. 17. Seek external expertise. It is essential to avoid seeking external expertise from crisis management consultants or communication specialists during a crisis. By following these practical tips and fostering a culture of preparedness, organizations can significantly improve their ability to navigate crises effectively and emerge stronger from them. Conclusion. This video has discussed crisis management and risk management. It explained the role of risk management in managing crises. A crisis is a time of intense difficulty, trouble, or danger that requires urgent attention and action. Crisis management is the set of actions and strategies an organization employs when facing an immediate threat or disruptive event that has the potential to harm the organization, its stakeholders, or its operations. Crisis management is typically reactive, focusing on handling the aftermath of an unexpected event and mitigating its impact. Crisis Management Plan is a strategic tool that helps organizations prepare for unforeseen events and positions them to navigate through crises with resilience, responsiveness, and integrity. Risk management is a broader and more proactive process. It involves identifying, assessing, and managing potential risks that an organization may face during its operations to prevent or mitigate the impact of adverse events before they escalate to crisis levels. Risk management acts as a preventative shield, while crisis response is the fire extinguisher at the ready. Both are essential for safeguarding the organization and achievement of its objectives. I hope this video is educative and beneficial to you. Please post your comments below in the comments section. If this video has been educative and beneficial, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Thank you for seeing the Solomon Fadun, Risk Management of Everything videos. I love to hear from you. Please post your comments and questions in the comments section below. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel, Solomon Fadun, Risk Management of Everything channel, and press the notification button to be notified when new videos are uploaded. Thank you.